Well. Well, mandatory mini camp's over with. And it wasn't really a lot today. Looks like they pretty much did a walkthrough of some sort. But nevertheless, there have been a lot of interviews between the last time I saw y'all and today. There have been a lot of interviews. So, let me go over our topics real quick. We probably will not get to all of this today. Probably going to, probably more than likely we'll get to some of this. If not tonight, we'll get through the rest of it tomorrow. But these are the topics that I plan to get through today. So today we're going to talk about Schotty's presser. We're going to talk about the Dak Prescott interview, which I think is the best interview of the day. George Pickens. I always love when George Pickens talks now because, George Pickens is definitely not living up to anything they said about him. He's just not living up to it. We're watching an entire different player, I'm telling you, that was in Pittsburgh. Micah Parsons, he did an interview. I want to listen to some of what Micah Parsons talked about. I want to talk about Kyer Elam, and I also want to talk about Trayvon Diggs. And there will be some things in between that. So these are going to be the topics for the day. And again, there are going to be a lot of things in between those. And there's actually something on here I didn't put. I'm going to probably see if I can get to. If not, we'll get to it tonight. But I also want to look at this interview with 105.3 The Fan. I want y'all to check this out. I listened to it today. And, man, this interview, boy, I'm just telling y'all. We are our own fan base worst enemy. I'm just telling us we're our own fan base's worst enemy. But we'll talk about that today. But as people come in, welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this live stream or this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And yes, we are live right now. And if you haven't become a channel member or subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming in the future. Now let's talk facts, as I always say. We're going to probably look different when we come back, matter of fact, because I got more studio work going on, more stuff put in the studio. You can see this little table I got over here, and it's actually another workbench. A lot of things going on on Let's Talk Cowboys, a lot of things that we're building. But again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Again, the topic is going to be the Schotty presser, the Dak interview, George Pickens, Micah interviews, and others, because there have been other interviews. We're going to talk a little bit about Kyer Elam, Trayvon Diggs, and I'm going to see somewhere in here, and it's probably going to be during the Schotty presser, I'm going to fit in 105.3 The Fan. Because I'm just telling you, man, I don't understand some of us, man. We are this team's worst, the fan base's worst. I don't know, I'll slice it. But again, whether it be 10 or 10,000, we're going to talk Cowboys today. So let's do a quick roll call. Shouldn't be long. We don't have many in right now. So we'll do a quick roll call of the people that are in. And then we're going to get right into this thing. I haven't even listened to the Brian Schottenheimer press conference, by the way. So I have no clue what Brian Schottenheimer even talked about. Let's go. Ghost of Mike McCarthy in the crib. What's going on with you? Yes, sir. Great Thursday to talk a little Cowboys. Yes, sir. Drew 912 in the crib with his normal Dak Prescott hate. I'm gonna let Jared. I'm gonna see if Jared gonna come in. I'm gonna let him deal with you today, Drew 912. I ain't gonna deal with you today. But welcome to the show. Reality Cowboy in here. What's going on? Ghost of Mike McCarthy. He says, "Hey G, I'd love to hear your opinion on Schotty's remarks about playing ping pong with players in the locker room." Okay, I hadn't heard it yet, so we're going to listen to it then. I'm going to give my opinion on it. Let's go. Dominique Pippin in the crib. He said, what's up to the chat? David J. What is up? All is well, David J. Appreciate you being in here. Oh, Cliff Rockefeller. What up? Gregory Davis in the crib. Warren Miles. Let's get it. John Jones. What up? Yes, sir. Hey, they don't know nothing about that G Money. Yes, sir. Let's go. New Jack City. Ice Wall Cowboy, let's go. Yes, sir. Mike McCain in the crib. He said, let's get her done, G. Let's go. Let's go. All right, we'll greet everybody else as they come in. We got quite a few interviews to get through today. So we'll fit them in when they get in. Amen. Let's go. All right. Dallas Mob 88. What up? What up? Dallas going to shock people this year. I believe so too. I do believe they are going to shock some people. All right, let's get into this first interview with Brian Schottenheimer. See how long it is. Woo, man, this is a long one. It's 35 minutes. Ooh-wee. All right, we're going to try to get through it today. I didn't know it was this long. 35 minutes, but we got time. Probably be about a 3-hour show today, so we got time. Let's see what we can get worked in here. All right, this is Brian Schottenheimer. Freddie Mungia? Mungia or Mungia? Welcome to the show. What's going on with you? He said Fred in the house. We're going to go with Fred Dog. Fred Dog in the house. Yes, sir. Good to see you. All right, let's see what Ghost of Mike McCarthy is talking about. Don't you worry about Drew 912. I'm going to come back to you when we get to the Dak Prescott interview if you be around that long. But let's check out Brian Schottenheimer and see what he's talking about.
You got everything that you wanted to accomplish?
I don't know if you ever get it all accomplished. I feel really, really good about the offseason program. I'm going to start with the connection of the guys. Offense, defense, special teams, coaches, players, new faces, new personalities. Feel really good about that. I feel like we've just spent time doing things in the building, away from the building, getting to know each other. I think there's been multiple events. All the coaches in different sides of the ball have gotten together away from the building. I think every position group has done that, and that's so important. So I think that's been amazing. I think getting the system in place in all three of those phases is really important. I love where we're at, right now offensively.
What up, Kareem?
Just in terms of the changes and the adjustments and things that we're going to do. I feel really good about that. Defensively, I love what Flus has brought from a mentality and a mindset. It's hard to see that right now because we're limited, but the intentionality and the aggressive nature and the way they run to the ball is fascinating to me and has been well respected by me for a long time. And of course, with Nick and Carlos with the special teams, just really with the three pieces coming back, Trent, Banger, and Brandon, seeing him put his fingerprint on that has been really, really excited. A lot of work to do. Some of the young guys, they've got to use these next 5 weeks to get caught up. There's a few guys that specifically, know they're a little bit behind. That's normal this time of year. They missed the first, 5 weeks or 4 weeks, I guess, of the offseason program, phase 1 and phase 2. But they have their work cut out for them in a good way. And the good news is the way the installations go is OTA 1 is the same as training camp 1 and OTA 2 and so on and so on. So they're hearing the information really in, for multiple times the same way. And I think that's important. That's something that I've believed in for a long time.
As a first-year head coach, obviously you have your plan of how you want to do things. How much have you had to tweak things as you've gone through this process?
There's always tweaks. I'm always evaluating things. I think I'm always looking for better ways to do things. I think I'm real big into what I call AARs, after action reports. After anything that we do, we kind of fill out an AAR. Okay, what'd you do well? What do you need to do better? What did you learn from it? A lot of people do that after games, but I think you have to do it. We did it after the draft, and we did it after phase 1, and we did it after phase 2, and now that, mini camp and really phase 3 is over, we'll do the same thing as a staff, and there'll be things that we'll take forward next year when we look back and we're planning for the offseason program to say, hey, let's do this, let's implement that. Hey, I didn't really like that. Let's move on from that. So I think you got to stay curious.
Now, this is the part that I appreciate, and I talked about this before. I'm telling y'all, this is the part you're going to appreciate about Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer is not a person that is locked in on a certain way of doing things. I love this about him. He isn't locked in on a certain way of doing things. What he's locked in on is trying to win, but he's not locked in on a certain way of doing things. Brian Schottenheimer, if he sees something that works, we saw this in 2023. If he sees something that's working around the league, he'll do it. If his coaches tell him something that maybe that could work better, he'll listen. And he may implement it. If Dak Prescott tells him something that he likes, he's going to do it. Brian Schottenheimer is not like a lot of the rigid coaches, especially. We've had a couple of very rigid coaches in Cowboys history. To me, I thought that Bill Parcells, kind of a rigid coach, had to be forced to do some things. They kind of forced Terrell Owens on him. You think about Mike McCarthy. His philosophy was analytics and the West Coast offense, and he did not want to deviate from it. Even after it brought him success in 2023, he came back in 2024 and he went to the most simplest form of it. Some of that, and even before the injury to Dak Prescott, it was atrocious. But Brian Schottenheimer, you're going to see something about Brian. Brian has already talked about running multiples, because he's saying something. We don't want to give you just one look. We don't want to be sold out on and sold into one way of doing things. No. 1 week we may run more. 1 week we may pass more. 1 week we may favor whatever we're going to favor. And another week we may do something else. They want to keep teams guessing. Unlike what we were the last few years. I really appreciate this about Brian Schottenheimer, and I'm telling y'all are gonna appreciate it too as we go forward. Let me get a couple more greetings, and we're gonna get back to Brian Schottenheimer. Kareem Conley in here. What's going on? B Fatty, what's up? What's going on? Oh, I forgot. We got another Dak Prescott hater. We'll deal with you too. Jared Thomas in the crib, #1 Dak Prescott fan. What's going on with you? I'm #2. He said Drew 912 already hating. Yep. Him and B Fatty. Again, little Dallas Cowboy, what's going on? He said, I can believe Rush won more than Dak last year. Oh, man. Boy, we're going to deal with y'all. Nisi, what's going on? I was wondering where you were. Back from vacation. I was worried. One of my top 5 supporters is back in the crib. What's going on, Nisi? Hold on. Nisi's back from vacation. Yeah, I was worried, goes to Mike McCarthy. I was about to send her an email. I just told my wife the other day I was going to send her an email and see what was going on. All right, Nisi, I'm glad you're back. You can help us deal with these Dak Prescott haters and bring some more truth. Bring some more truth in here. For sure. All right, again, let me see here. Who was in the crib? Robert Simmons, what's up with you? Good to see you in here. Mills 36, what's in here? Yes, sir. Bills 36, another week of Dak hate. Sam Alcho went harder today than LaShawn McCoy. Yeah, you know what? The media don't surprise me no more, Mills 36. They don't surprise me because I know for them, how else are they going to get somebody to watch their show? How is they going to get somebody to... Nobody wants to watch the facility unless they're talking about Dak Prescott. No one, if they're not talking about Dak Prescott and Dallas Cowboys, you ever notice? No one talks about anything the facility talked about. Except when there was the Big Dale 8604. He said, "Oh, you need some more mods." Yeah, I may have to put some more people on Big Dale for sure. For sure, I hear you. All right, Davion Wallace, what up? Davion Wallace said, Shotty has truly grown on me. Yeah. Hey, I was sold early. Yeah, he said I would be in Oxford to see him up and close. Oh, you're gonna be in Oxnard? Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Hey, I hope you get some footage or something, man. We can share it. Boy, I'd love to see that. Yeah, Big Dal. Yeah, Acho a grifter, man. Yeah, man, Acho ought to be ashamed of himself. LaQueen, what's going on? One of my original supporters also, top 5. What's going on, LaQueen? Good to see you. Adam in the crib. He said, look, Dak haters are obviously just not smart people. What is there to hate about a guy? He produces year in and year out. When healthy, he's absolutely one of the best people you will ever see. Amen. Appreciate you, Adam. And Adam, one of the things I can appreciate about what they're doing now, they're finally, since 2016, Amari Cooper was a great addition, and I think that was 2019. Unfortunately, CeeDee Lamb wasn't CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens is better than what CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper was. CeeDee Lamb hadn't come into his own. CeeDee Lamb is coming to his own now, and George Pickens is about to explode. No doubt. Austin Lord in the crib, what up? Kevin Hicks in here, what up? Yup. Mike McCain, you're right. The Dak hate is not going to go away the same way they did Tony Romo. They hated Tony Romo. It's only because they're Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks. That's why they're already trying to pump up Milton. And you know what, Mike McCain? That's why I say leave the kid alone. They're going to build him up too. And if he gets in and once he starts stinking it up, they're going to hate on him too. They're going to hate on him too because that's what certain parts of this fan base does. All right, let's get back into this. Brian Schottenheimer, we're going to just try to get on some, hit the high points. Pretty long interview. We're going to see if we can get through it.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. First of all, who's behind?
Say again?
Who you said was behind the black ketchup?
Say what?
Who was behind?
Oh, who? Oh, well, let me give you the names.
Diggs coming in. Certainly, the uncertainty around when he will be ready. Can you just talk about that? How does it impact your plans, the cornerback, if it has at all, and what you're doing, and when do you think he'll be ready to go?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into when he's going to be ready. You don't know. He's got to maximize these next 40 days or whatever it is, 5.
All right, Nisa, am I still going in and out? If not, you may have to refresh your browser. Let me make sure everything's plugged in here. All right. All right, I'm double checking, Nisi. Let me see. All right. Am I stable now? Let me know. All right, let me know if it goes in, is continuing to go in and out. If not, refresh your browser and see if that helps. All right, let's rock.
5 weeks, and it's been great having him back. It's been great having him with Britt. Trust his plan, trust the work, but to put a timetable on it, not going to do that. In terms of the importance of training camp, when he's ready, he'll be ready. Again, it gives opportunities for guys like Kalen Carson, Troy Pride, Kyrie Elam's doing great. So it's given us a chance to evaluate some of the younger players while Trayvon gets back and gets ready. And that's kind of when a guy gets injured, you hate it. But it does open the door for other guys, and you get a chance to evaluate guys that maybe you don't get a chance to see. And they'll get real reps, in training camp, and you'll see them going against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and guys like that, which is a big part of the evaluation, seeing the good guys against the good guys. And I think that's something that those guys are excited about.
All right, guys, we're going to circle the block on this part right here. We're going to circle the block on this because this is a later conversation. But I got a strange feeling. I have a strange feeling that Trayvon Diggs is feeling some heat. Trayvon Diggs is feeling some heat, if you ask me. Because I think Trayvon Diggs may be about to make a very vital mistake. Trayvon Diggs said he's going to, or his goal is to be back on the field opening day. I think that is a mistake. I think one of the things that has happened to so many of these Cowboys players is that they've come back too early. Trayvon Diggs really needs to, let me tell you something. Everybody is not Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is the only one that I know of that's ever come back from a torn, an ACL. This dude came back in 6 months and ran for 2,000 yards that season. I mean, you got to understand, Adrian Peterson was built in a factory. Everybody's not built like that. Trayvon Diggs, this is multiple injuries for him. What is this, like the second time now this knee has been a problem? And he had some kind of bone graft or whatever the case may be. I think Trayvon Diggs is feeling some heat. I think he would be absolutely crazy to force himself back early. I would not do it because there is a very good chance, and I'm telling y'all, there is a very good chance that Trayvon Diggs is not on this team next year. And Trayvon Diggs has to be thinking like that. He has to be thinking beyond the Dallas Cowboys because his contract is designed to where he may not be here next year. And not to mention, I've already talked about this. Let me tell y'all something. This dude, Kyrie Elam, I done told y'all, man. I done told y'all. Bobby Belt tried to downplay him. I like Bobby Belt, but we're gonna maybe listen to if I can pinpoint it. I listened to Bobby Belt the other day, and boy, Bobby Belt, I'm like, okay, Bobby, I like you, but you trying to downplay Kyrie Elam. Kyrie Elam has been playing extremely well in the OTAs. Now, you just heard Brian Schottenheimer said he's been great. Now, understand why this is very important as it applies to Kyrie Elam. The OTAs, they are designed and are offensive geared. They're geared towards the offense. The defense really can't do a lot in OTAs. They can't hit. They can't be physical. They're not really, I don't even know if we can call them at full speed per se on defense. But Kyrie Elam, yep. Kyrie Elam's been moving at a little bit different speed. Yep. Kyrie Elam's been moving at a little bit different speed. And they have all been saying Kyrie Elam has been impressive. Kyrie Elam has been impressive. And I'm telling us, I think Trayvon Diggs could be feeling some heat. Because I'm telling, I would be surprised. I would be surprised if he's here past next year. Because the Cowboys have a great, as much as people say we got a cornerback room problem, we also got some great problems to have. Because DaRon Bland, I hope Kyrie Elam continues. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I hope he continues to develop, and I hope he turns into one of the starters. The Cowboys have got to make a choice on signing DaRon Bland and keeping Trayvon Diggs under contract. I don't think they're going to do both. Savon Revel Jr., I believe he is the Trayvon Diggs replacement. Kyrie Elam, I don't really know where that gets us because if he balls out, the Cowboys got to make a decision on him. Kalen Carson, Josh Butler, that may push one or two of those guys out. But Kyrie Elam may turn out to be a part of the solution here. I believe the Cowboys' cornerback answer is already in the building. If Savon Revel Jr. is healthy, gets healthy, and I believe he will be, Kyrie Elam continues to develop. I think he's going to be better than everyone thinks. DaRon Bland continues to be DaRon Bland. We'll be fine without Trayvon Diggs next year. But if Trayvon Diggs comes back healthy, I would love to see him play with the Cowboys this year. I just don't think it's going to be next year. I think the Cowboys will choose DaRon Bland over Trayvon Diggs when it comes time to sign. I think they'll choose DaRon Bland. Of course, Savon Revel Jr. will take Trayvon Diggs' spot. Kyrie Elam is going to work into this some kind of way if he plays well, which he's already been playing well. So I'm just telling us, I think Trayvon Diggs is feeling some heat. And I think Trayvon Diggs needs to be very careful how he proceeds. Do not try to rush yourself back because we can use Trayvon Diggs if this team is what I think they're going to be by midseason. If I'm Trayvon Diggs, come back around midseason, bro. You, Demarion Overshown, don't rush back. Come back around midseason. Because if the Cowboys around midseason are 6-3, oh, man, the push down the stretch, you bring those two guys back, and, boy, we look like a whole different team. Or not a whole different team, but we are that much more geared to beat some of those, the meat of that schedule down the stretch and really make a playoff run. So I hope they don't come back early. Jared Thomas, appreciate that super chat. Jerry said, G, to the people talking about playoff record with Dak, he has the same amount as Pro Bowl quarterback Baker and highly praised Herbert. Is that so bad? Not to mention, Lamar Jackson only has one more than him. Lamar Jackson only has two more than him. I mean, people don't understand. It's hard to win in this league. As C.J. Stroud, we were saying the same stuff about C.J. Stroud being this, that, and the other over Dak Prescott, the same way people are now talking about Daniels out in Washington. Jaden Daniels is going to find out just like C.J. Stroud found out. This league, 1, has a way of catching up with you. 2, this is a business. You lose players all the time. 3, it's hard. It's hard to get back to those NFC and AFC championship games. It's hard. I don't care what anyone says. It is hard to get to those games because the playoffs are different than the regular season. Your deficiencies, they stand out like a sore thumb in the playoffs. Where in the regular season, you can have deficiencies, Jared. You can beat teams with deficiencies in the regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, no. If you have deficiencies, in actuality, they get exploited. Because the playoffs are the best of the best. And the problem with the Dallas Cowboys, and I told y'all this the other day, I did a video on it. Brian Schottenheimer understands something about this team after being here for 2 years. Dak Prescott is the problem. Brian Schottenheimer understands that. Dak Prescott's not the problem. That's why they're doing all this culture stuff. That's why they keep talking all this culture stuff. Culture. Because, see, a lot of people don't understand the difference between positivity and building a great culture. I've seen some of these discussions on social media. Positivity. Put this nonsense out of your mind. There are some Dallas Cowboy fans that they are so negative that they hate when anyone says anything good about the Cowboys. Their word is the only word that goes. And basically their word is, if the Cowboys are not doing what they want them to do, then the Cowboys are no good. And if anybody starts saying something about something good the Cowboys are doing, they start talking about positivity. They start talking about positivity and any of this other stuff, all this old Hopi yards and all this stuff. They don't understand the difference between positivity and a culture. This is not about finding the good in everything. It's not about that type of stuff. Brian Schottenheimer is building a culture as a safety net. What a culture does is that a culture can endure losses. Because some people like, yeah, man, it's all good until you lose. That's why you're building the culture. Positivity crumbles. Positivity crumbles when you lose. Because positivity may not always be based on facts. Positivity may not be based on anything that has staying power. Have you noticed? Brian Schottenheimer is not trying to build a positive environment. He's trying to build a competitive environment. There's a difference. You build a competitive environment. You build a culture, a family culture, so that when you lose, y'all pick each other up. When you lose, you don't crumble. When you lose, you don't point fingers. When you lose, you say, we lost. How do we get better? When you lose, rather than it making you crumble, it makes you rise. It makes you say, never again. That's what a culture does. I'm telling you, I hear these people. They are the problem. They are a part of the problem of the fan base that itself has become negative. There is context that has went into these 30 years of losing. There's context. And Dak Prescott and Tony Romo have not been the problem. Actually, Tony Romo and Dak Prescott has been the solutions. They've been the solutions. The only difference is we didn't put the teams around Tony Romo and Dak Prescott that we put around doggone Troy Aikman. We didn't put the coaching. We didn't put the culture. We didn't put the teams. We didn't put the players. We didn't do the things that the ownership should have been doing. We didn't put those things around Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. And so, I'm telling y'all, as much as, hey, Dak Prescott better than Tony Romo to me. But that don't mean Tony Romo was a slouch. Tony Romo, I'm telling y'all, Dak Prescott has to work to be as good as he is. Tony Romo, Y'all didn't hear me. It came natural for him. And that's why Tony Romo didn't work hard. Tony Romo was a phenomenal athlete. Phenomenal. I'm telling you, this dude was a phenomenal athlete. A lot of things came natural to Tony. Natural thrower of the ball. Natural thrower of the ball. Scrambling, running the ball. He's athletic. It's no wonder he could do some of those things. Tony's problem was, as smart as Tony was, Tony didn't study the game as much because so many things came natural to him. He didn't work on the game. He didn't work on his body. I'm telling you, football season was over, Tony Romo went and got golf clubs. That's how talented he was. He didn't have to work on that part. But the part that he needed to work on that he didn't work on was up here in leadership. And where Dak Prescott beat him out was leadership. And then over time, Dak Prescott has become more talented than Tony Romo. Over time. Because Dak works on the game, his study of the game, his understanding of the game. Dak Prescott has had to work to get there. And that's why Dak Prescott, and even this year, people are just kind of glossing over the fact that Dak Prescott is actually having an incredible camp, considering all things considered, him coming off of his injury. But again, people don't understand what Brian Schottenheimer is doing. Coaching and culture matters. They matter. And that's what's been the problem with this team. They revert to the blame game. They revert to 53 brands. They revert to every man for himself when they lose. And that's why when they lose, it's hard for them to come back together. It's almost like hero ball. Every man for himself out there. Brian is trying to get rid of this. You build a culture so that you can endure the losses. You endure. You learn from. You build. And you come back stronger. That's what the culture is for. This isn't about positivity. People too, this stuff just irks me when I hear people saying this crazy stuff. Just crazy stuff. All the positivity is fine until you lose. No, that's what the culture is for. That's what the culture is for. See, some people haven't worked in this. See, I've worked in an environment of team building. I've had to team build, educational background, studying people, biblical background, studying and understanding people. Culture is different than positivity. Don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the two. And a lot of people have confused the two. And this is why they're waiting. And I'm just laughing at people and how negative they are. They're waiting on Brian Schottenheimer's downfall. They're waiting to say, well, all that culture stuff, where did it get you? They're waiting to say this stuff in the wings. I'm telling you, man. People. I'm just telling you. You better be careful who you listen to. I'm just telling you. You better be careful who you listen to. David J., I'm with you. Appreciate that super chat. David J. said, screw the haters. He said, I'm riding with Dak until the wheels fall off. Me too. I'm rolling with him, David J., because not only is he a great quarterback, he's a great person. And he's one of these people that I'm rooting for to win. I want Dak to get a championship. And I'm telling y'all, all you people, you do not understand. George Pickens, I got news for you. Somebody got to tell the truth, and I'm going to tell it. George Pickens is not enough. George Pickens, Dallas Cowboy fans, you heard it from me first. George Pickens is not enough. And maybe there have been some others saying it too. George Pickens is not enough, y'all. George Pickens is not enough. The Cowboys need more. The Cowboys need more. They need more. They need more. We need to really build and understand what our offensive and defensive line is, because that's where the Super Bowl is going to begin and end. We got to know what we got to know what our offensive and defensive line is. We got questions in those two and we got questions in particular on the offensive and the defensive tackles. And those are the worst places to have questions. I mean, really, those are the worst places to have questions. Are we going to be able to rush the passer? No doubt. No doubt. We're going to be rushing the passer. When we put teams in passing situations, I'm telling you, they're going to have to pray. They're going to literally have to pray with the pass rushers that we have. The question is, will we be able to get teams in passing situations if we're not sure about where our tackles are? Will Oso Digizua make a step? Yes. I'm not worried about him making a step. My question is, how big is the step? I mean, I'm not Osa. Mozzie. I'm sorry, Mozzie Smith. Will Mozzie Smith make a step? Yes. How big? How much can they get Oso Digizua's run stopping better? Because Osa, as good as he is, Osa's been a little bit better at the pass rush than he has been at stopping the run. We got to be sure of where we are in the run game. Can we stop the run? Because if we can stop the run, now this premier pass rush that the Dallas Cowboys have, it's going to come alive. But we got to force teams into throwing the ball first. And I'm talking about showing up throwing the ball. I'm not talking about 3rd and 4. I'm talking about 3rd and 9s and beyond, 3rd and 8s and beyond. We got to force them into those situations to where they can't run those first downs. Because if we put them in 3rd and 4, and if we can't stop the run, well, they just run the first downs. And they'll run extended drives on us. Our offensive tackles, we don't know what Guyton. I know do I believe Guyton's going to make a step? I do, but how big will the step be? Guyton at left tackle don't need to make a step. Guyton at left tackle need to make about 3. He needs to make about 3 steps. He needs to literally make 3 steps. Not 1, not 2, 3. Left tackle is so important to a team. It's the quarterback's blind side. It is important. That left tackle may find himself on an island, one-on-one against a premier pass rusher. Well, he's got to be able to stop him. If he can't stop him, it's over. But again, let's get back to Brian. And, I'm just piggybacking on some of the stuff that he's saying. And Nisi, I am in agreement again. Yeah, Nisi, Trayvon Diggs don't need to come back early. Nisi, saying the same thing I'm saying. Wait until after the bye week. That's where I am too. Him and Trayvon Diggs both after the bye week. Don't come back before the bye week. Because if we're doing what we're supposed to do, they're only going to help us going down the stretch. If the Cowboys are somewhere around 6-3, 5-3, or somewhere in there, yeah, they're going to be the difference in some games coming back strong, especially when you talk about DeMario Overshown. Can't wait till we get back. Oak Cliff Rockefeller said Diggs has to take his time. Yes, Jerry ain't playing. Plus, Diggs needs to focus on what's next if he don't pan out. That's it. That's it, Oak Cliff Rockefeller. That's it. He needs to understand he may not be playing for the Cowboys after this year. Because even if he plays well, the Cowboys, if you look at that contract, it's perfect to get rid of him. And if Savone Revel Jr. is what he's supposed to be, he is the new and improved Trayvon Diggs. He is the new and improved Trayvon Diggs. Bigger, faster, stronger. He is the new and improved Trayvon Diggs. Patrick, what's going on? He said, I don't think Trayvon Diggs will be ready for game 1. As long as Elam holds up, I think they stay with him. I'm with you. Facts. Yes. And I'm telling us, Kyrie Elam, I love the position that he's in. Cowboys got him in a prove-it situation. And he trying to prove it. I love it. He trying to prove it. You want those problems. I'm telling you, wait till them pads get on. I think Kyrie Elam is going to be even more devastating. I do. I think he's going to be even more devastating when the pads get on. C-Bay says if he gone this year, it sucks. But Diggs is not the Diggs we know anymore. He's not. Ever since these nuts, I've been dude, evidently. So he has the Jones. So, C-Base, think about this. A lot of people don't realize This is why you don't want Jair Alexander. Him and CeeDee Lamb both. They've barely played the last 2 seasons. Both of them. Why would you go get Jair Alexander? He's Trayvon Diggs. He is literally Trayvon Diggs. And people who really like Trayvon, and I like Trayvon Diggs too, don't get me wrong. But people who are saying and rooting for Trayvon Diggs to come back, this, that, and the other, you know what they're hoping for? C-Base, they're hoping for the Trayvon Diggs of times past. Jair Alexander. Boy, he came into this league in 2018 and took the league by storm. But after he got that extension in 2022, he hadn't quite been the same. Ever since Diggs got that deal and that knee popped, he hasn't been the same. I'm just saying. Jared, he says Emmanuel Acho, Shady McCoy, and Chase Daniel ripped Dak apart today. And Shady has asked, why does Dak need so much help to win? A bit hypocritical. So why did Jalen Hurts need so much help to win? Why are the Buffalo Bills loading up around Josh Allen? Why are the Baltimore Ravens loading up around Lamar Jackson? Why are the Los Angeles Chargers loading up around Justin Herbert? We know why. It requires players contrary to what Pro Football Focus says. And if the Kansas City Chiefs don't start putting players around Patrick Mahomes, he's not going back to another Super Bowl. He's going to put up stats, but he's not going back to another Super Bowl because this league is saying something. We just watched the best team in the NFL beat the best quarterback in the NFL. We just watched the best team beat the team with the best quarterback. They nullified Patrick Mahomes with that pass rush. They nullified Patrick Mahomes with that pass rush, and they destroyed Kansas City because they had the weapons. In particular, don't be fooled by 27 or 57 by, I think it was either 27 or 57 or 27 for 67. Do not be fooled by that with Saquon Barkley. The Philadelphia Eagles forced the Kansas City Chiefs. They forced them to dedicate more resources than they wanted to the run. They forced them to do it. The best team beat the team with the best quarterback. And I'm telling you, everybody is following suit. Everybody is trying to load up on players because they're now figuring it out. Wait a minute. So you don't have to have the best quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Duh. You don't have to have the best quarterback. Your quarterback don't even have to be top 10. Nobody put Jalen Hurts in the top 10 before this year winning that Super Bowl. Nobody. People were saying it was over for Jalen Hurts. Not no more. But don't worry. Philadelphia Eagles have a bad season this coming season. They're going to throw Jalen Hurts in the trash again because that's what people do. Bleeding Blue. Appreciate that super chat. Yeah. I'm with you, Bleeding Blue. Shotty knows what he's doing. Let that dog hunt. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's doing. And that's the part people don't understand, Bleeding Blue. The Cowboys, if you really think about it, over the last 4 seasons, the Cowboys actually haven't had a losing problem. No, they haven't had a losing problem. The Cowboys have won 12. They had 12 wins in 3 of the last 4 years. Last year was an anomaly. Dak Prescott got hurt. Winning nor losing is their problem. The Cowboys' problem is they didn't have a stable enough culture to continue to be focused when they win and to continue to stay together when they lost. Brian Schottenheimer watched this stuff up close and personal. And Brian is saying, I see what the problem was. They got a culture issue. It's every man for himself. We have to stop this mentality. And that's exactly what they're doing. Patrick, yes, sir. I'm with you. Savon and Bland. Yeah. Everybody needs players. I don't understand this mythology that only Dak Prescott and other quarterbacks need players. They all need players. They all need players. There isn't a team. There isn't a quarterback that don't need players. Because if there was ever a quarterback that would have won without players, it is Dan Marino. Dan Marino is, I still say, Dan Marino is probably one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback as good as Dan Marino. Dan was insane. But Dan couldn't, they never ran the ball around Dan. Dan wanted to be the focal point, but I bet you if that joker looked back now, he probably would have took that running game. He'd have took that running game. Trey 777, he says, JD5 has no deficiencies. Are we talking about Jaden Daniels? He's about to be the next Tom Brady. That's Dallas' future for the next 10 years. The Miami Dolphins of the NFC East, you'll see. JD5. Okay, you got to help me, Trey 777. Who is JD5? Now, when you tell me, I'm going to slap myself in the head and go, oh, okay. All right. Ghostface says, I respect all Dak's big, huge fans. They really love him. His national outlook reviews and regarded legendary through the odds makers got us winning 8 to 9 games. Dak's national rep ain't legendary. No, Dak actually is legendary. That's the part. Let me tell you something. Joy Taylor, as much as I disagree with her, Joy Taylor said something. Joy Taylor said that if Dak Prescott was doing what he's doing on any other team, that people would be singing his praises. But because it's the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott gets obliterated for what he would be praised for on another team. I absolutely agree. Do we not realize that Dak Prescott is in the top 10 quarterbacks in passing of active quarterbacks? But let me put this on your brain. He's missed 2 seasons. Let that sink in. Dak Prescott missed 2 seasons. Dak Prescott missed 2 seasons. And Dak Prescott is in the top 10. Dak Prescott statistically is top 5 in so many categories that count. Hall of Fame numbers. Go look it up. Hall of Fame. This is why Dak's going to talk about this today. Legendary. Because Dak's numbers, people don't understand. The numbers are already legendary. Do we not realize that Dak is in year 10? Dak Prescott has missed the equivalent of 2 seasons. And Dak Prescott is already about to be the leader in so many statistical categories for the Dallas Cowboys. Why do you think that is? People do not understand how good this guy is. And I'm going to say it before I'll say it again. There's a reason. We did not give Tony Romo, nor have we given Dak Prescott what Troy Aikman had around him. We didn't do it. And if you're saying we did, you're lying to yourself. You're not going to lie to me, but you're lying to yourself. Tony Romo never played with the players, nor the coaching that Troy Aikman played with in his prime. Dak Prescott may have that opportunity if the Cowboys keep on this trajectory. They got him a coach. I believe they got a coach and a coaching staff. But they don't have enough players yet. They don't have. I'm telling us unequivocally, we don't have enough players yet. What they put around Troy Aikman by 1992 was a fortress. A fortress. They fixed it to where anybody almost could have stepped into that team and won. That's how good the 92 through 96 Cowboys were. We're not there yet. I'm sorry. For all you Dak Prescott haters, I'm going to keep you in reality. We're not there yet. Sexy Suze, great day to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm not even giving. It's a shame that what we do to players. I am not putting Jaden Daniels in the top. This is insanity to me. I'm not putting Jaden Daniels in no doggone top 5 after one season. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, hey, you know what? You're entitled to your own opinion, but that's insanity. Insanity.
Now that Pickens been here a month, you guys had a chance to really be around him more so than just the early stuff. Everybody's put the right foot forward. What have you learned about him that you didn't know? What has impressed you about him that you've seen?
He comes to work every day with a smile on his face. You know, he's very personable when you get to know him. I love being around him. I love talking to him about life. I love shooting baskets against him. I love just watching his, I talked to him a lot about, ball and his experiences at Pittsburgh and what he liked.
Ghostface, love your comment, but it don't make sense because there's a lot of quarterbacks that hadn't broke out. Not breaking out is the truth. It's not hate. Okay, so name me who else has broke out. All the quarterbacks that they have put in the top 10, Ghostface, have they broke out? Help me out. Have they broke out? Have they broke out? Jaden Daniels got past the second round. I'm not going 1 year. 1 year is not enough. 1 year in a rookie season is not enough. I'm sorry, we've seen it. We continue to see it. We continue to see these quarterbacks. They do so well in their first year. We saw Joe Burrow do it. I'm not buying that. It's not breakout. It's not breakout. Now, he does it again. Okay, now we're going to call it the breakout. I'm not calling it a breakout. No. Your theory, if that's what you're calling the breakout, then there's a lot of quarterbacks that haven't had a breakout yet. And I would dare tell you that the Buffalo Bills will tell you Josh Allen hasn't had a breakout yet. Because last time I checked, the second round of the playoffs wasn't the goal. The goal is the Super Bowl, not the second round of the playoffs. My girl Angie the Rebel Chicks, what's going on? What's going on? Angie said get them likes up. Y'all know Angie not playing.
Likes and what he doesn't like, and he's been amazing. He was the last guy to leave the practice field today. I think that speaks volumes of the fact that he's excited about what we're building, and I'm a big GP fan.
When you think about George Pickens, why wouldn't you be happy if you're George Pickens? George Pickens is on cloud 9 right now. Do we not realize what George Pickens was playing with, man? They had George Pickens with Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, not in his prime, Kenny Pickett, a run-oriented team, defense first team, no complimentary receiver. George Pickens was in purgatory in his own. To George Pickens, he was in purgatory. I know why he's happy with the Cowboys. I know why he's happy. He's finally got a quarterback. He's got a quarterback. He's got the perfect complimentary receiver. He's got great coaching now. Don't mistake Mike Tomlin for great coaching. Mike Tomlin is a great coach, but I'm not sure about everything around him, especially offensively. Man, George Pickens right now, boy, you probably can't stop George Pickens from smiling because the love that he's getting from the fan base, the love that he's getting from his team, the love that he's getting from the players, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, the love that he is absolutely getting in just being a Dallas Cowboy. Man, this is a dream come true for George Pickens. Of course he's happy. But again, Cornell in the house, what's going on? He said, I agree 100%. 100%. I've been saying the same thing. Pickens is a cool addition, but it's all about the trenches. George Pickens is not enough, y'all. To all you Dak Prescott haters, you're hearing it from me first. George Pickens is not enough. And I'm sure you're probably not hearing it from me first. George Pickens is not enough. Now, Dak Prescott is so good that it's going to give us flashes of thinking it's enough. George Pickens isn't enough. The Dallas Cowboys in August of 1992 went and got Troy Aikman, one of the greatest weapons that he ever had in his career, and his name was Charles Haley. Yeah. It wasn't Alvin Harper in 1991. It wasn't Emmitt Smith, I believe, in 1990. The greatest weapon the Cowboys gave Troy Aikman, in my opinion, is Charles Haley. Charles Haley. Charles Haley changed life. He changed life for the Dallas Cowboys. Once they got that team put together, once they stacked it with players, this is what I'm telling y'all. The Cowboys stacked coaches and players around Troy, and I dare say, I don't even know why I'm saying around Troy Aikman. They just basically stacked the team with players and coaches. And once they stacked it with players and coaches, they did exactly what Philadelphia did. When Philadelphia stacked their team with coaches and players, they said, now what player will push us over the top? Saquon Barkley. The Cowboys said in 1992, what player will now push us over the top now that we got an offensive and defensive line? What will push us over the top? Charles Haley. In 1995, the Cowboys said the same thing again. They went and got Deion Sanders. George Pickens is not enough. George Pickens is not enough. George is going. Are we going to be better? Yeah, than last year. Let me tell you something. Y'all do not understand how good Dak Prescott has been. With one wide receiver in 2023, Dak Prescott, second team All-Pro, MVP, runner-up, 12-5 with CeeDee Lamb. That's it. That's it. No top 5 defense. No great offensive line. No secondary weapons. Dak did that in 2023. And then we wonder why when we go up against the Green Bay Packers, we get demolished. Because the only thing we really got is Dak Prescott. All we had was Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. That's it. And Micah Parsons. I'm just being honest. What has been Micah Parsons' complimentary player? DeMarcus Lawrence was a run stopper. DeMarcus Lawrence isn't necessarily, he wasn't the pass rusher. And I don't really think he's ever been just a great pass rusher. Micah Parsons, it's easy. Double team him. Double team him. Run at him. Run away from him. Chip him. Do whatever you need to do. He's an undersized edge rusher. You nullified Micah Parsons on our defense, and no one else does nothing. Stop it. Stop it. I'm telling us Dak don't have enough. And the gauge that I'm using is the 92 Cowboys. We don't have enough. The Cowboys didn't have enough in 91. They had Irvin. They had Harper. They had Smith. They still didn't have enough. Go ask Sean McVay what you have to do to win Super Bowls. You need to put together super teams. In this new era, you have got to put together super teams. Because everybody don't have Patrick Mahomes. And even he, a great team is his kryptonite. In particular, a great team with a pass rush. It's his kryptonite. Stop it. Stop it. I'm telling us. George Pickens isn't enough. Somebody got to say it. George Pickens isn't enough. The Cowboys can't stop with George Pickens. They can't. They can't do it. And if we're saying that George Pickens is enough, we're not right. They're not right. We're not right if we're saying it. And all these haters who's saying, as Jared pointed out, talking about why does Dak Prescott need so much help? Shady McCoy ought to be ashamed of himself. But there's no shame in his game. His name fits him perfectly. That's why his name is Shady McCoy. And if you check his history, he's a very shady individual. So you're saying this, meanwhile, you're bragging on Jalen Hurts, who literally had a super team around him. You put man, let me tell you something. I believe Kenny Pickett win the Super Bowl with that team. Straight up. Straight up. I believe Kenny Pickett. If Jalen Hurts would have went down, I believe Kenny Pickett wins the Super Bowl with that team. Kenny Pickett would have won. You know why? Because Kellen Moore would have said, uh-oh, now we can throw the ball. No hate on Jalen Hurts. I'm just telling you. With the weapons they have on the outside and Saquon Barkley, Kenny Pickett wouldn't have had to run. Kenny Pickett wouldn't have had to run. Kellen Moore would have went into his bag of tricks and say, hey, Kenny Pickett, we're going to let you throw it around. When you get teams that are stacked, you can actually put almost any quarterback, any good quarterback. You don't even need a quarterback of Dak's talent once you get a super team together. They just become the icing on the cake. Excuse me. Once you get a great team together, man, you can almost win with anybody. You can. Nisi said, no more favoritism with this team. No more playing the money if they're not performing. Best players should be on the field. Facts. Goes to Mike McCarthy. He said no other team was willing to make a deal with Green Bay for Jair, so that's a bit of a warning sign. Goes to Mike McCarthy. Jair Alexander is Trayvon Diggs. That's the part I'm laughing at. People like, oh, Jair. Why? You already have Jair Alexander. His name is Trayvon Diggs. Look at their last 2 years. Both of them have missed tremendous amount of games. Don't make sense.
Brian Tudor with ESPN. Earlier you said you like a lot where you are offensively. What do you like the most about where you are?
I think, we got through the installs, which was good. Today was kind of like the final exam. What do I mean by that? It's like in college when, you have your build up to the big test at the end. We basically took the 9-10 installs that we had, and we did a call-it period at the end, which basically we broke the team up. 2's on one side, 1's on the other, just mix and matching different pieces. And we just put the ball down and called it. I called one side, Clayton called the other, Flus called one side, Andre called the other. And anything was at our beck and call. So we could go to whatever we want. It could be OTA 1 install, could be OTA 3 install, could be OTA 5 install. And I think it's a good way of checking ourselves with where we are in terms of the command of the system. Remember, the objective is you put all these plays in, but when they go play, they got to play. There's a thing called player's mind, which means when they go out there to play, they can't be thinking about, okay, what's my split? What's my alignment? What's my depth? What's my protection rule? It's got to be where they're free to play and think and react. They're the greatest athletes in the world. And so if you bog them down with too many things where they're thinking about being perfect and robotic, then they're not going to play, a million miles an hour. And so I felt like that. I haven't seen the film yet with the 2s. I felt like the 1s showed great command of what we've done, and we pulled from really all the different installs, and that gets me excited.
And then Dak every year takes his skill guys on a trip. Obviously, there's a camaraderie.
Yeah, now see, I know what they're getting at. See, they're asking, like, what is the best part of the offense? Because they want to kind of get to the Dak Prescott stuff and maybe even some of the Milton stuff. But again, I think Brian Schottenheimer is kind of going out of his way. And maybe I'm crazy because I haven't heard anybody else talking about this. But I do believe Brian Schottenheimer is going out of his way. I think Brian Schottenheimer does not – I don't think he likes these kind of conversations that people always have. I don't think he likes these conversations about Dak Prescott. And the reason why I don't think he likes these conversations about Dak Prescott is because he's been there the last 2 years, and he's been on the inside watching this stuff, and I know what he's saying. Dak Prescott isn't the problem here. Dak Prescott is actually one of the greatest assets we have in this entire organization. Brian understands this. And so Brian is saying something. Same thing that Jimmy said with Troy Aikman. When they tried to put everything on Troy Aikman, I'm not going to do it today. Maybe we'll do it a little bit later into training camp, or we got 3 weeks in between mandatory mini camps and training camp. When they tried to put it all on Troy Aikman, he was a turnover machine. Turnover machine. And when Jimmy figured out that Jerry wasn't going to allow him to move Troy Aikman out of the way, because don't think that Jimmy wouldn't have moved Troy out of the way. Jimmy Johnson told Troy Aikman. Dave Onstad told this story. Jimmy told Troy Aikman, you will not play quarterback for me. Throwing interceptions. Straight up told him. I'm just telling you, this was the story that I heard Dave Onstad tell. That Dave Onstad said the beginning of a lot of the stuff that we've seen from Jerry Jones previous to this year, favoritism, as Nisi mentioned, the players that are highest paid, and favoritism in training camp, favoritism towards players, that started way back with Troy Aikman. Jimmy straight up said that, nah, you're not going to play quarterback for me and throw interceptions. You're not going to do it. And if you don't think Jimmy was playing, let me look this guy up real quick. I forgot this guy's name. Okay. Steve Burleson. Did y'all know that Troy Aikman got hurt in 1991? And Jimmy Johnson brought in his old quarterback, Steve Burleson. And Steve Burleson stepped in, balled out. Balled out. Got him to a 4-0 record and got him into the playoffs. Balled out. But Jerry wasn't going to let him take the spot of Troy Aikman. So what did Jimmy do? Jimmy kept putting players around him. That's exactly what Jimmy did. They stacked players around Troy Aikman. That's exactly what they did. And they took some of the responsibility off of Troy. They gave him an insane running game. They not only had one of the historically best lines ever. A lot of people don't even understand how good Daryl Johnston was. I wish the Cowboys would go back to that I formation. I wish they'd go back to that. When you got a good offensive line and you run a good offensive line and a lead blocker, San Francisco does this from time to time. Let me tell you something. Whew, it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop on 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s when you got a very good offensive line and you got a lead blocker. Whew, boy, hard to stop. I'm telling you, it's hard to stop. Let me read these super chats. We'll get back to Brian. Jared says, we'll have to see what Jaden Daniels is after rookie year. He'll be close to Pat, Big B, and RG3. And yes, Shady's a hypocrite. Keep cooking him. Jared. Jaden Daniels. Let me tell you something about Jaden Daniels. He better realize sooner than later. Jaden Daniels almost didn't finish the season last year. Jaden Daniels, I believe, is going to be a very good to great quarterback in this league. But he's a very skinny kid. It's a very skinny kid. And he can run the ball. He's very swift. But let me tell you something. I promise you, if he runs the ball like he did last year, he won't last this year. You don't run the ball like that and be his size in this league and make it. Ask Kyler Murray. Ask these guys like Bryce Young. Ask these guys. You're not going to run the ball in this league and last, especially being that size. Jaden Daniels really helped the Washington Commanders out last year. He extended some plays. He did some things with his feet. But understand this, the buck stopped when he ran up against the Cowboys. The buck stopped, and it's going to stop again when they come up against the Cowboys. You want to know why? Because the Cowboys got speed on defense. We are the kryptonite to a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Book it. We're the kryptonite. And so are the Philadelphia Eagles. When you got speed on your defense, that's the reason why we beat them the first time in Washington and didn't have our starting quarterback. Injured on defense, didn't have all of our defensive players, beat them in Washington. Thought it was a fluke. Came back in the last game of the season with Trey Lance. They had their starters out there in the first half, and the Cowboys manhandled them. And the reason why Dan Quinn took out Jaden Daniels, and I quote, Jaden Daniels was taking a few hits out there. Yeah, the Cowboys were putting a little something on him. I am not worried about the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys will be able to handle up on them. You watch what I tell you. This Dallas Cowboys defense is a kryptonite to a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. All that running, bro, you ain't running on Michael Parsons on the edges. You're not going to run on Donovan Ezeraku on the edges. You're not going to run on Dante Fowler on the edges. You're not going to step up in the pocket and run through Osa Odigizua. We're the kryptonite for a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, and that's the reason why we beat him once and we almost beat him twice. Book it, not worried. And don't let Dan Quinn fool you. Dan Quinn knew exactly the route that he needed to take to get through these playoffs. Because he knew had he went any other route, they don't make the NFC Championship game. They did not make it. The road was too hard if they would have went the other direction. The Washington Commanders couldn't beat everybody in the playoffs. There was a specific route they needed to take, the easy route. And this is why that last throw that Marcus Mariota made in the corner of the end zone was not only a backbreaker, but boy, it really helped put the Washington Commanders in a great position. Because had they went the other route, they wouldn't have made it. They wouldn't have made it. So I'm not sold on Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is going to be a great quarterback, but I'm not putting Jaden Daniels in the Hall of Fame yet, and I'm definitely not putting him in the top 10 even of quarterbacks. I got to see more. Supreme King, appreciate the super chat. We need Gilly to come back. Letting him go was dumb. I think he may be back. Supreme, I'm not going to be surprised if they do get Gilly back. I do believe Gilly is one of the options. I think what the Cowboys are going to do, they're going to get in training camp in 3 weeks. They're going to probably run a week or two, kind of see what everything's looking like. And especially, I'm thinking we'll probably go against the Los Angeles Rams. We typically go against the Rams, I believe it is. If we get an opportunity to go against the Rams in the in training camp and start kind of seeing what we have, I think you're going to watch. Watch what I tell you. Y'all be patient. I fully believe the Cowboys, if they're going for the championship this year, I think they know they don't have enough. I think they know it. And I'm not saying they're not going for the championship, but we're going to know how serious they are. Are they truly pushing all the chips in? Because if they're truly pushing all the chips in, they don't have enough. And we need to understand that. My sister Angie, the Rebel Chicks. She said, "Gee, I have a new saying." She said, "See, so I'm convinced Steven views defensive tackles like they are Crocs, multiple colors that can slide on and go." She said, "What you think?" Hey, let me tell you something. He may think that, but I'm telling you, boy, Brian Schottenheimer's sister, Brian Schottenheimer knows. Brian Schottenheimer knows that if they don't get this thing solidified, they ain't gonna be able to slide them in and out. Yeah, he may view him like that. He absolutely may. But Brian, I'm hoping that once they get into training camp, and I think this is where Brian is going to probably play smart again. You got to get into training camp so you can let them see that, hey, we may need more help here. And then we can start talking about, let's go add some more pieces. Because I'm telling you, I don't think they have enough. I don't think the Cowboys have enough. I think they need a little bit more. And again, and I think where it has to be, it is going to have to be on the offensive and defensive line, because that is the place, offensive, defensive line. Once we get that solidified, understand what our cornerback room is. Do we need to bring in another cornerback? And I do think I think Stephon Gilmore would be great here again. Because, we got to understand something, and this is why I don't think the Cowboys are even thinking about Jair Alexander. Because if you bring in Jair Alexander, you've already told Trayvon Diggs he's good as out. Marv, appreciate that super chat. Salute to you too. Hey, I'm telling you, you go and get Jair Alexander, you're basically telling Trayvon Diggs he's done. No, and again, I say Jair Alexander and Trayvon Diggs are one and the same. They're both, and Jair Alexander, do we really know if he's healthy? Do we know if Jair Alexander is healthy? I don't even think anybody knows. Darren, appreciate that super chat. Yeah. Yes, sir, Darren Posey. Let me tell y'all something. I know some people think that Robert Griffin III is wacky or goofy. But let me tell you about this dude. Hey, Robert Griffin III not got hurt, this dude was terrorizing this league. In particular, our Dallas Cowboys. He was a terror. Robert Griffin III was a flat-out baller. And I appreciate you bringing that up. Darren. Because he was kind of similar in a sense to what we're watching with Jaden Daniels. Running the ball. And he wasn't that big of a quarterback, even though I think he's bigger than Jaden Daniels. For sure, he was bigger than Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels isn't even that big of a quarterback. Got his ribs hurt last year. You let Dan Quinn keep running him. You watch what I tell you. Let Dan Quinn keep running him. And he's going to run him right off the field. He's going to run him right off the field. Straight up facts. He's going to run him right off the field. It is hard to last in this league when you that light and you a quarterback and you trying to run against these doggone 300-pound linemen. Keep on. These fast linebackers, these bigger cornerbacks. Keep on. You'll find yourself out. I'm with you, Nisi. I'm ready to get this on the field because that's going to be where the rubber meets the road. That's where the rubber going to meet the road. Jared, appreciate that super chat. Yeah. Seasons can turn on one play. Miles Austin dropping the pass in 2011 knocks the Giants out of the playoffs. Yep. D-Jack put in Green Bay in 2010, getting A-Rod a ring. And yeah, one play. Hey, what about the tuck rule with Tom Brady? One play. It can. Sometimes one play turns it all around. Ultra Cowboy in the crib, I see you in here. What's going on? Raheem O'Neal, what's going on? Raheem said the issue is with Troy, we didn't have that Super Bowl entitlement. I've talked to so many people who think we are supposed to be there every year. That's not how football works. Straight up, Raheem. See, Raheem. And I think Jerry has that entitlement too. See, because we've already done it before. But see, Jerry finally had to come to the reality, Raheem. Being the Dallas Cowboys and America's team don't guarantee us or give us the privilege of going to the Super Bowl every so often. See, now Jerry is realizing, okay, I got to do something. I got to build a team. And I got to stop saying stupid stuff like we only go as far as our quarterback takes us. That is so dumb. No one ever said that about Troy Aikman. Because it wouldn't have been a true fact. Yeah, hey, Jay Novacek was a straight beast at tight end. I mean, we stacked this team with Troy. We haven't stacked this team yet. We're getting there. My man Poobie D in here. What's up? Sexy Sue says, I think Shotty's in. Ooh, don't say it. Sexy Sue's, I was thinking the same thing today. Let me read what Sexy Sue said. I think Shotty is enjoying the spotlight enjoying the spotlight a little too much. Enjoying his own words a bit too much. Sexy Sue's, I was thinking the same thing today. And This is how I was thinking, Sexy Suze. I was thinking like this. I hope he doesn't let all of this spotlight go to his head. I hope he don't let it go to his head, because I'm telling you, they build you up to tear you down. He's got to stay the course. He's got to stay the course. He's got to keep doing what he's been doing. He's got to stay the course. And don't get too caught up, because I'm telling us, this Dallas media, they're waiting. They're waiting. There are people out there waiting on this man's failure. They're waiting on his failure. They're waiting on Dak Prescott's failure. They're waiting on this team's failure so they can come back and say, I told you it wasn't this, and I told you all that culture talk, and I told you, Brian, how much you bet? If the Dallas Cowboys go 6-11 this year, how much you bet the headlines will be, Jerry Jones made the wrong decision? Brian Schottenheimer should have never been a coach. How much you bet? All the culture stuff was all just talk. How much you bet? How much you bet? Let me tell you about people. They wait for your downfall. They wait and they prey on your downfall. Jared said, even this year with the Lions and Eagles, Jalen Hurts may not be a champion today if Dan Campbell takes out Aiden Hutchinson against us. Jared, anybody who was with me in the beginning, I said Dan Campbell is going to regret trying to run the score up on the Cowboys because he was mad about a play from the previous season, trying his best to destroy the Cowboys. Hutchinson shouldn't have even been in the game at the point where he broke his leg. And it became an avalanche of injuries for the Detroit Lions on defense. And I'm telling us, you need luck to go to the Super Bowl too. For as good as the Philadelphia Eagles were, I don't think they were better than the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions healthy were better than the Philadelphia Eagles healthy. The Detroit Lions got decimated on defense. Decimated on defense. Decimated. And their defense, and then Jared Goff betrayed them in the playoffs. And some of the people in the local media are even saying that Ben Johnson betrayed them. That's what some people in the local media are saying this over in Detroit. They couldn't take the playoffs, they couldn't take the turnovers that Jared Thomas did. That Jared Goff did. They couldn't do it. They couldn't overcome it. It was too much.
Part of that, but is it more important maybe this year because CD's been around this offseason, wasn't around last year. Pickens is new, that trip maybe takes on added importance at all?
Yeah, I think that trip's just awesome in general, Todd. I think it's for a lot of reasons. You know, they work. I mean, you guys probably see some of the videos. I know I see some of the videos. I mean, they work.
Now, what they're talking about is, I don't know if y'all are aware of this. Alfredo Morales, what's up? I see you in here. Gregory Davis, what's going on? Jay Bird up in here. What up? What up? I see all y'all. Appreciate you. Alabama, I see you. What's going on? He said Michael got to step up. Richard Villegas, what's up? I see you. What's going on? Superstar status, what's going on? Now, what they're talking about right here, Dak Prescott takes all the skill players every year. He takes them on a retreat where they work out. And I'm going to tell you the kind of man that Dak Prescott is. Now, Shotty is talking about how great and how important this is. I'm going to tell you the kind of man that Dak Prescott is. I laugh at how people talk so bad about Dak Prescott in the media. They want this man's downfall. They want to turn this into Joe Milton taking Dak Prescott's spot and yada, yada, yada. The thing that I love about Dak Prescott, you watch what I tell you. When he goes and he takes this whole trip and brings all these guys, guess who he bringing? Joe Milton. Dak Prescott is trying to help Joe Milton. Dak Prescott is trying to develop Joe Milton. And I promise y'all, as much as people keep saying, yeah, Joe Milton's going to make Dak Prescott better, he's competent. No, he's not. Joe Milton's no competition for Dak Prescott. The thing that drives Dak Prescott, and I've said this before, what's driving Dak Prescott is that he wants to win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. Because Dak Prescott knows that if he wins a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, he will be in the Hall of Fame. He will be legendary. It's the Super Bowl that's driving him. That's what's driving Dak Prescott. Joe Milton actually isn't pushing Dak Prescott. I think the talk of Joe Milton from others may be pushing Dak Prescott. But Joe Milton, Dak isn't worried about that stuff. Does it drive his does it raise his level of competitiveness? Competitiveness? Yeah, of course it does. Doesn't take Joe Milton to do that, though. Anybody make a great throw, I'm going, yeah, it's a great throw. I'm going to make a great throw too next. I'm going to make a great throw too. I'm going to make every throw great. I'm going to show everybody why I'm supposed to be the starting quarterback, because Dak isn't in danger of losing his job from Joe Milton. And anybody who's being honest that are watching these OTAs or even notice, and they're not even letting the defense really be aggressive yet. Joe has got a way to go. Joe's got a way to go. And that's why I wish the media would leave him alone. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, Dak is not bothered by, and he's got a lot of mental fortitude. Dak don't even care about this old dumb stuff that people be talking about with Joe Milton. Dak has embraced Joe Milton, took him under his arm, and when they go on this trip, you watch what I tell you. Joe Milton's going to be right in the middle of them photos.
They put the time in. They talk a lot of ball. They do a lot of team building stuff, which is great. But make no mistakes, they're there to spend time to get to know each other and on a deeper level. You know, they know each other, but again, it's the time away from the grass that I get excited hearing them talk about. You know, it's some of the team building stuff they do, some of the conversations that they have. Those are the things, actually, when I follow up with Dak, you know, after they do it, you know, and just check in with him. I mean, those are the things when he comes back to training camp, I like to ask about that. Like, what'd you guys talk about? Like, what was the cool things? Like, the ball stuff's the ball, you know, but it's really more them spending the time together that matters to me. And I think there'll be a great turnout like there always is.
I grew up on the banks.
I'm telling you. Dak Prescott, man, I'm just telling you, you'd have to be, you got to be a different kind of person to not root for Dak Prescott. That's all I can tell you, man. You got to be a different type of person. I don't see how you don't root for this dude. I don't see how not only do you not root for him, I don't even see how you can't see the context around this guy and understand he's been the least of the Cowboys' problems. This guy's incredible. He's an incredible player. He's an incredible human being. And when you think about the things that he's overcome in his personal life, he's the exact kind of guy that you want to be your quarterback. Because if there is anybody that can overcome some of the things that he's faced on the field, it's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is driven. I'm telling you, this guy is driven. He wants to win one for his mother. He wants to win one for his brother. He wants to win one as a Dallas Cowboy. And I'm telling you, he's got another incentive too. He wants to win to shut up all these haters. He wants to win. And that's why I laugh at people when they think, you think it's the money? Dak was going to get the money regardless. No, you're going to hear it later on if we get to it. But Dak is concerned about his legacy. That's what he's concerned about. And if we don't get all the way through this, what I'll do, we'll probably do the second half of this later on tonight, and we'll move over to Dak Prescott's interview. Because I'm telling you, this dude is built different. He is the exact kind of guy you want as your quarterback. He is. Exactly. Scarecrow 702, what's up with you? I see you. Good to see you in here. Goes to Mike McCarthy, but you're right too. Yeah. And again, goes to Mike McCarthy. He said something earlier about, you know, Brian's got to be careful, make sure he's not just trying to be these players' friends. And I think he's being careful. I think what he's doing is he's getting the relationships built up, because I think he watched something last year, in the last couple of years, Ghost, that he watched how this team, when they lost, they didn't have each other's back. I think that's where he is. And so what he's focusing on, he's wanting them that when they do lose, don't go and chop each other up. You got to stay focused. We got to stay focused. We got to stay united, because that will get us through. That will get us through some of the tough times, because they are going to face some tough times during this season. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, superstar. Yeah, Dak cool with Will Greer. He'll be there too. This year, superstar, it'll be Dak. It'll be both of the quarterbacks. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, Tolbert. He'll probably take all the wide receivers if he can. He'll definitely take Ferguson, Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford. He's going to take all those skill position guys. Cavante Turpin. He's going to take everybody, man. Dak going to take everybody this year. My man, Madman in here, what up? Black man, what up? Yeah, Dak going to do his thing. And Dak is trying his best to, because see, y'all got to understand the method of the madness of Brian Schottenheimer. Dak was already saying this stuff. Dak was trying to do something that a quarterback can't do on his own. Dak was trying to galvanize a team. It's hard for a quarterback to galvanize a team by himself. Dak was trying to galvanize a team that the coach couldn't galvanize. Shotty is saying, I'm going to galvanize the team. And I'm going to galvanize the team by first galvanizing the coaches. And then the coaches are going to go out and they're going to spread this Dallas Cowboy gospel to the players. Somebody's been saying it in the chat for weeks. Coaches build culture. Coaches implement culture. The players, they live that culture. And so what he's trying to do, he's trying to stop them from being 53 brands. Isn't it amazing? Nobody's been talking about Micah Parsons' podcast. We've barely been talking about the contract. We've barely been talking about a lot of this and that. No, not been talking about this stuff. Bleeding Blue said, Joe knows his role. I can hear Dak now. One day, young man. One day. Let me tell you something. Dak, man, I'm telling you, I guarantee you Dak is nothing but encouraging to this man. I bet you he loves Dak Prescott to death. Trey Lance loved Dak Prescott. Trey Lance absolutely loved Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott is not like a lot of these quarterbacks. No, he's not thinking, hey, man, this is a team. If y'all are good, it makes me good, because I look at what y'all doing. If y'all doing stuff good, it makes me say, I got to be good. I got to be good. I'm not worried about losing my job, but I got to be good. The ghost of Mike McCarthy said, my knock on Dak is playing from behind. His vision of the field is reduced. Looking to force throws, leading to ultimately picks. Much of that, though, can be related back to poor play calling and route designs. Yeah. And actually, I think Dak Prescott, when they get behind and they kind of let him do what he wants to do, I think he plays a lot better. But I do think what he's done, at least over the last couple of years after they got rid of Amari Cooper, I think we saw more pressing from Dak Prescott because he didn't have the receivers. He's going to talk about this in the press conference, Ghost. I don't know if you heard it, but Dak going to let us in on something in that press conference. He going to let us in on something. What he has been looking for in wide receivers. And when he tells us this, we're going to find out, okay, now I see some of the problems because we didn't have it. Richard said, if we get ahead on scoring, I wouldn't mind letting Dak rest up in the fourth quarter and play Milton. They will. You better believe they are. They will. They did it with Cooper Rush. They're going to do it with Joe Milton. If they get up on teams, they're going to figure out ways to get him in. Ice Cold Cowboy, yes, sir. Good people are likable.
Personally, how different or maybe the same will these next month and a half be between now and the start of training camp?
I'll definitely get away a little bit. I think it's important to recharge your battery. It's a long season. It's been a long year. You know, when you take a job like this, you don't really get a long break. But the biggest change for me is instead of having to look over 45 guys in terms of staying in contact and reaching out, now you got 90 guys. And not only 90 guys, but you got a full staff. And so I'll be busy, making phone calls and checking in. I might have a shotty in hand and sitting on the beach somewhere, but it doesn't mean I can't, make a couple phone calls and check in with everybody. And, I called the guys up today and I told them, hey, a couple things is number one, take care of yourself, take care, your families, hang with the ones you love. And then I told them I love them, and I got a little emotional. These guys gave us everything that we've asked for this spring, and I think they'll do that when we get started out in Oxnard.
And OTAs and minicamp combined, what would you say has been the thing that you've enjoyed the most as your first kind of OTAs minicamp as a head coach?
Yeah, the way we ran. The way the energy and the effort that we put out on the practice field. There's a lot of ways to do it now. It's funny. You look around and some teams barely practice at all. Some teams don't wear helmets. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but I would say the way these guys have taken to the way we tried to teach them how to practice has been really, really cool. And I think we showed that you can throw a hell of a practice in an OTA tempo without having guys on the ground, without having collisions. I just feel like as a whole, they took the instruction that we gave them, they applied it, and they did it at a really, really fast level. And that makes me happy, makes me proud for them.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. When did you start seeing the buy-in from all the guys? And was it player-led? Do you feel like it was something maybe you did, or when did that gradually come about?
I don't think it's anything I've done. I think it's and I don't know. I mean, from the first meeting that we had in the locker room, I think there was a excitement. Is it about me? I don't know. I think it's about the energy that they feel around the building. It's real. It's tangible. We got a great group of guys, man, and they work. I mean, to have perfect attendance in mandatory minicamp and whatever it was, 90-something% attendance in the off-season program, and that's something that we should be proud of. I don't know what the other teams are doing. Don't really care, quite honestly, but this team and this locker room in general is made up of the right people, and that gives you a chance. Doesn't guarantee us a damn thing, but it gives you a chance. And it tells you that, okay, great, we're going to go out to Oxnard, and then we're going to actually be able to put on pads and practice and play real football, and then we'll know a little bit more about where we stack up against the rest of the league.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you what Brian has observed. Brian is saying something. We actually have good players. And y'all have to realize, as deficient as we have been to win 12 games, and even with the stuff that was going on behind the scenes with Mike McCarthy, to still win 12 games, 3 seasons in a row, and even last season may have been different had it not been derailed by so many injuries. Brian Schottenheimer saw an opportunity, and he said, man, the players are here. We just don't have the mentality. We got to stop the 53 brands. We got to stop the entitlement. We got to stop the finger pointing. We got to stop the hero ball. We got to stop all the stuff that's really tearing the team. See, a lot of people thought we were losing on the field, but Brian Schottenheimer is telling us something that is powerful. No, we were losing in the locker room. We were losing in the locker room. We were losing in the film room. We were losing on the practice field. We were losing off the practice field, in the personal lives. We were losing everywhere, and then thought we were going to get on the field and win. Well, eventually the buck is going to stop eventually. Dak was telling us this stuff, and we don't even realize it. Y'all remember last year, Dak said, what are guys doing when they're not in the facility? Brian Schottenheimer is answering that question now. Have you not noticed how Brian keeps up with what they're doing outside of the facility? He participates in things they do outside of the facility. He's telling all of them to do things with each other outside of the facility. I'm telling you, Brian is telling us what was broken. I love this comment that Nisi made. Nisi said, Dak is doing what Romo never did for him. Yeah. Niecy. Because Romo saw Dak as the ops. Romo saw Dak as the ops. Romo was threatened by Dak Prescott. He was absolutely threatened. Meanwhile, Dak isn't threatened by nobody. Dak isn't threatened by nobody. That's the part people have to get in their head about Dak. He's not threatened by anybody. He's not worried about it. If you look at Dak's career all the way back to high school, he's always been an overachiever. Every time somebody said what Dak was not going to be, he turned them into a liar. And that's why I say for the Dak Prescott haters, let the man's career play out. And let me finish reading what Angie said. Dak is doing what Romo never did for him. He's encouraging his backups to be good and working with them. Facts. Straight up facts. Devin Wallace. He says Shotty is doing Maxwell 5 levels of leadership. Yes, sir. He has got to get them to understand he cares and get them to the point they want for themselves and the team too. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Facts. I agree with Angie. Angie said hit that like button, and she said please this time. I agree. Let's go. C-Bay said 100 of y'all hadn't liked the video. Let's go. Yes, sir. Let's go. I love what he's doing. Ice Cold said discover the fantastic like button before you enter the chat. I love it. Let's go. Yeah, I'm telling you. Shotty, man, this dude is, his psychological warfare is second to none. Because he realized something. I'm telling you, I teach this stuff. Slavery begins in the mind, always. Slavery always begins in the mind. Victory begins in the mind. Victory doesn't begin with the players, the coaches, the ownership. No, in the mind. Before you can tell a man he can succeed, but before you tell a man, or before a man can succeed, a man has to believe that he can succeed. Before a woman succeeds, she has to believe she can succeed. And there has to be something outside of herself, himself, themselves, that something from outside of themselves has to convince them that they can be greater than themselves. This is where Brian is. Brian is realizing the inherent thing wrong with this team is the very thing that we've been talking about over these last few years. Cowboys have had a terrible mentality. They've had a terrible mentality. Entitlement. I think that's one of the issues. They've had entitlement issues. We went up in 2023 because we were 12-5. We literally thought we 12-5. We blowing Green Bay off the field. Somebody forgot to tell Green Bay. Somebody forgot to tell Green Bay that the Dallas Cowboys were at home. And we're the Dallas bleeping Cowboys. We're America's team, and we're 12-5. Somebody forgot to tell Green Bay that. Do y'all know somebody forgot to tell Green Bay that? But I can tell you what Green Bay discovered. You know what Green Bay discovered on their own without nobody telling them? The Dallas Cowboys can't stop the run. Dallas Cowboys can't run the ball. Dallas Cowboys only have one wide receiver. If we can stop that one wide receiver, then we shut down Dak Prescott and that whole offense. They only have one player on defense. His name is Michael Parsons. Yeah, somebody told him that part. They discovered that part. Nobody told them that they were supposed to lose. Brian is trying to get this bratty entitlement out of this franchise. And this is why this Cowboy fan base, some of us are bratty and entitled. We literally thought with no run game, can't stop the run, one wide receiver, not even a top 15 defense. We literally thought because we're the Dallas Cowboys and we're 12-5, surely we're going to beat Green Bay. Yeah, we forgot to tell Green Bay.
today, and he talked a little bit about he's not really worried about legacy. He's just worried about winning a championship.
Whoa, talking about Dak Prescott.
That kind of way.
But it gives you a chance, and it tells you that, okay, great, we're going to go out to Oxnard, and then we're going to actually be able to put on pads and practice and play real football, and then we'll know a little bit more.
Yeah, we got to get them pads crack-a-lack.
The rest of the league.
We went to Dak today, and he talked a little bit about he's not really worried about legacy. He's just worried about winning a championship. Being in this building, having that kind of weighing over everything, that trophy. Have you had discussions with Dak about legacy and your many conversations with him? And what does legacy mean for you?
I think legacy. Well, no. The first answer is no. Dak and I haven't really talked about his legacy or a legacy in general. We just talk about what it takes to win. The work ethic and sacrifice you have to make to win. I think that's relevant in any field that you guys are in. You guys are all obviously very successful at what you do, and there's sacrifice and there's time spent, and so we talk a lot about that. This is one of the hardest working players I've ever been around. Talk about Dak, of course. Legacy to me, I think it starts with people. To this day, I go out on the field for a game, and I will have 2 or 3 different individuals come up to me and say, "Excuse me, coach, you have a second?" And I know exactly where they're going. And I, of course, drop what I'm doing because I want to hear it. And they say, your father changed my life. And it's former players. And so he never won a Super Bowl, won over 200 games in the NFL, but I would put his legacy up against anybody that's ever coached in the National Football League.
Patrick.
That boy Brian like to hit tears right there. Brian like to hit them. I bet that got him right there, boy, about to hit them tears. And I'm telling us, man, I said this the other day. Joe Milton and nobody has to motivate Dak Prescott. I don't care what anyone says. Dak's not motivated by stuff that people think that should be motivating him. Dak is not motivated by that stuff. Contrary to what people think, this man wants to win. Bar none, this man wants to win. If he didn't want to win, he wouldn't be putting the work in. The heck is the work for if he don't want to win? What's the work for? Wants to win. He wants to win. Dak already knows he has all the numbers. Dak has everything he needs already to be almost Hall of Fame level. Dak plays about 3 more years. Dak's going to have somewhere around 45 to 40, might even hit 50,000. But he'll probably be somewhere around, I would say, 46 to 47,000 yards. And he'll probably have maybe about another 60 touchdowns, 60 to 80 touchdowns. The accuracy is already there. There'll be so many things that he will have achieved. People are going to look back on Dak Prescott's career and go, wow, this guy was actually that good. Dak wants legacy. And that legacy is the championship. The legacy will take care of itself if Dak wins the championship. That's all he needs to win. Lisa in the house, what's up? Hit that like button, she says. Yeah, Dak knows what's up. He does. Kelsey Williams in the crib, what's going on? He said we hear Dak will be MVP this year. I'm telling you, I think he's going to make a run for it. I really do. Tim Pennell, what's up? He said, hello, everyone. God bless, for sure. And y'all also make sure if you're on social media or if you ever go by Angry Cowboys fan, make sure you go and, give him a shout out. Make sure you pray for him and his family tonight. Angry Cowboys fan lost his brother. I think it was over the last couple of days. And he's one of our content creators, one of our Dallas Cowboy brothers. And y'all make sure y'all go over and give him some words. Angie reminded me this week. I went over and shouted him out on X and gave some comforting words. But you don't know what to say when people lose family members. But sometimes just acknowledging and saying I'm praying for you is enough. Just saying I'm praying for you and I'm acknowledging you, man, and appreciate what you do. Y'all make sure y'all shout out Angry Cowboys fan on the social media or go over there. Go over there and on his YouTube page, whatever the case may be. Shout him out. I'm pretty sure, and he's got to continue to function. while he's going through what he went through with his brother. And I know him and his brother were close. So y'all make sure y'all shout him out. Angie, the Rebel Chick, she said, we have some disingenuous fans. She said they will watch your content from start to finish and still won't hit the like button, which is free. She said, so it's no surprise at how flip-floppers they are towards Dak and others. Appreciate that super chat. Angie up in here dropping bombs. I appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you. For sure. Y'all hit that like button, for sure. Oh, okay, Madman, Angry Cowboys fan. That's his name. Angry Cowboys fan. You never heard of Angry Cowboys fan? Man, he's got one of the most unique voices in the game, man. Got one of the most unique voices in the game. Yeah, make sure you shout him out. Alfredo says there's no real hitting in camp. No more, G, the NFL banned it. Yeah. See, we got to get the pads, though. I think you can still have some contact, if I'm not mistaken, in training camp. What, maybe 2 or 3 of those practices you can have some you can get some hitting in. You'll better be a little bit more physical for sure. You'll better be a little bit more physical for sure, Alfredo. So they definitely got to get to that point. All right, we're gonna check out a little bit more of Brian, and if we may get about halfway, and then we're gonna go over to Dak Prescott and hear some of these other interviews. This is a pretty lengthy interview by Brian Schottenheimer.
Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. As a first-year NFL head coach, I mean, you saw as the OC last year just how Tyler Guyton struggled to stay healthy because of just what's required of guys coming out of college, going through the combine process, and then going right into an NFL training camp. What's your message to your rookies and your first year as head coach to tell them, hey, you can get balance, physical rest with staying in shape and staying ready for training?
Yeah, great question.
My daughter is being traded for.
Yeah, he's talking about staying healthy, coming into the league.
Address it all the time. The position coaches address it all the time. Lean on the veterans. Talk to them. We have mentors and mentees that we kind of align together where you ask a younger player to, okay, you're going to spend some time with this veteran player and talk to them about routine. They all need to get away. They all need to get a little bit of a break, right? It's a long season. But if they don't have a plan, then they will not be ready. Talking about the young players, of course. So, Donovan talked to me the other day. Ezraku talked to me, and he said, "Hey, Coach, these next 5 weeks, what do I need to be doing? Like, what do I do?" And I said, I have my thoughts. I said, and I'll give you my thoughts, but first, you go talk to Solomon Thomas, because Solomon Thomas has been doing it physically more than I have. And so he has a great routine. And if you don't like what Solomon says, then go talk to Dak Prescott. Go.
All right. D. Kizzle. D. Kizzle just asked an insane, powerful question. D. Kizzle said, G, please tell me, what quarterback won MVP and Super Bowl? I want Dak to succeed, but I think you got to sacrifice one, though. I'm just saying. D. Kizzle, let me tell you how powerfully insane what you said is. Can anybody tell me how many MVPs Troy Aikman won in his career? How many MVPs did Troy Aikman win in his career? How many wins? How many MVPs? See, a lot of people don't realize that when Troy Aikman went into the Hall of Fame, there were some people that were really kind of like, they didn't think he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Because if you look at Troy Aikman's, if you look at Troy Aikman's stats, I'm sorry, they're just not really that impressive. But the one stat that counts that looks extremely impressive is 3 Super Bowls. And a lot of people were saying that Troy Aikman played on a super team, and so he shouldn't be getting any of these accolades that he got after football. D. Kizzle asked the question. Now, I don't know how many quarterbacks, but D. Kizzle, I'm going to boil it down to this Dallas Cowboy quarterback because I think that's where we need to get the answer. Let's get down to how did Troy Aikman win an MVP, a league MVP? Did Troy Aikman win a league MVP at any point in his career, including the 3 Super Bowl wins? And you know what the answer is? 0. Zero. D. Kizzle, I know exactly where you are. 0. Poobie D, he put it in better terms. He said zilch. 0. Zilch. Dak Prescott has already proven. He can throw the ball all over the place. He can get all pro. He can be MVP in the MVP conversation. Offensive player of the year. Dak Prescott has proven all of that. It is now the responsibility. Of Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Will McClay, Brian Schottenheimer to put the players on this team so that not only Dak Prescott, but this team gets a Super Bowl. And should be Super Bowls. Super Bowls. That's their responsibility. And I do think that Dak Prescott has reached that point. I don't think this is any longer about those things. And I think when Dak talks about legacy, and we're going to go over to Dak Prescott in the next 10 minutes. When Dak talks about legacy, I believe that's some of the stuff Dak is talking about. Legacy. Awards, accolades, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, the one everybody wants to hear is Super Bowl. All those awards, that's individual stuff. And it's cool too. Super Bowls, that's team stuff. That's team stuff. That's team stuff. When you do that, that is team stuff. Troy Aikman is in the Hall of Fame. Not because of his individual accolades. They're actually not a whole lot to even brag about. And even when you look at Troy Aikman's individual accolades, a lot of those things were a result of team success. They were a result of team success. I don't find it strange that his accolades didn't start until after they started winning Super Bowls. Because before those Super Bowls, he wasn't winning nothing. Nothing. It was after those Super Bowls. Those teams they put together. He started winning accolades. This is where Dak is. Dak understands. Every man realizes something in this game. And I think the cruel reality of the NFL sets into players when they turn around 31. When they turn around 31, I think they realize something. They have more yesterdays than tomorrows. Dak is about to hit, I think, year 10. I have a strange feeling that Dak is not going to be a Tom Brady. I'm not sure if he's going to be an Aaron Rodgers playing until he's 40 years old. I'm really not sure if Dak even wants to play for another team. We'll see what happens over the next 3 to 4 years. But I do know that Dak Prescott wants a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. That's what he wants. Because if he gets a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, if he's the first quarterback in 30 years to win a Super Bowl with this team, he's legendary. He's legendary. D. Kizzle, he said, my thing is when fans want Dak to be MVP, I'm like, screw all that. I feel you. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I think Dak is saying the same thing. He's not worried about those things. He understands what the Super Bowl would mean. Because Dak already has enough. He already has enough. He just needs to get them rings. He needs to get a ring. What up, Suge Midnight? What up with you? Dak got to get them rings. Mac Money Mayfield, he said NFC title game at least, G. I think that's going to be very heavy this year. I think that'll be very heavy this year. I think Ghost of Mike McCarthy kind of said it right earlier, because I've been saying the same thing in respects. Man, this is Brian's first year. I mean, let me tell you something. If they're going to go to the NFC Championship game in his first year, they need more then. They need more. They need more. George Pickens isn't enough. And don't get me wrong, there will be times this season that Dak is going to make it look like way more than enough. It's not enough. You got to tell me what your defense is going to look like. Until you tell me what your defensive line and offensive line going to look like, I know we're going to win because Dak has done it before without a defensive line and an offensive line. So I know we're going to win. This is the issue with me. I know we're going to win. But what I want to know is how we're going to win. And I don't want to be going pinball machine, banana bonkers because Dak Prescott got George Pickens and we're throwing up the ball and we're scoring 35 and 40 points. We've been there and done that. We've been there and done that. I don't want to go there no more. We've been there and done that stuff. I want us to be able to hold teams below 20 points. And still say, and we can put up 28 and 35 anytime we want to. I want us to be able to hold teams because that's what the Detroit Lions did last year. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles did last year. And those two, to me, they were the best two teams in the league last year. And Detroit, I'm telling you, had they not got hurt on defense, I don't think Philly goes. But if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But I don't think Philly goes. I need to know what our offensive and defensive line looks like. I do. When I know what our offensive and defensive line going to be, then I'll be like, okay, we on our way. But right now, what I do see is we're going to be better than we were last year. Book it. And what I do see, well, with George Pickens, Dak got 12 wins, and the team got 12 wins without a number one, top 5, top 10 defense. I mean, a real top 5 defense. We did that without an offensive line, without a run game, with one receiver. We've already won 12 games. So it wouldn't surprise me this year if we win 12 games. It just won't surprise me. Now I want to know how we're going to win.
Talk to Micah Parsons. Go talk to whoever. And so I think that's the best thing that these guys can do is lean on the guys that have done it. But if they don't have a plan, then they will fail. And I've had a couple of the younger guys, not to be named, up into my office and tried to ask them if they could give me their plan. And some were better than others, but we're working through it. So I feel really good about this rookie class. The effort they gave was incredible. But these next 40 days are really, really important for them.
Yes, sir, Poopy D.
Skyler Dixon with DAP. You just mentioned your dad. As you go into your first break as a head coach, summer break, think back to all those years as an assistant.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the D-Kizzle.
You're in the place you're supposed to be right now as you get ready to take a little break and head toward your first camp.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm excited that the offseason program went as well as it did. I'm excited with the connection piece that we've made. I'm excited about how these guys have competed. I think it's a really, really special group of young men that have a common purpose, a common goal. But I'm also really excited to spend some time with my family. This has been rightfully so a long 6 and 7 months. And so I'm going to spend some time with my son and my daughter and my wife. And I won't be too far away from my iPad and my phone. But You have to do this, and our players have to do that. Family's important. And when you're hanging around the ones that you love, that's not just your family. That's the guys in our inner circle. That's the guys in the locker room. And so there'll be things that I'm doing with our players and their wives and their girlfriends over the break. It's not just where I go disappear. I'm not doing that. I love these guys. I want to be around these guys. And so, there'll be some nights, I'm sure, when I'm laying in bed on vacation and thinking back to, how this offseason has gone. Has it been perfect? No. Has it been really good? Yeah, it's been really good. And I think we've put ourselves in a great position to capitalize on the momentum of a strong player acquisition piece, going back to free agency and the draft, and then watching these guys practice for the last 4 weeks has been incredible.
Brad Sham, 105.3 The Fan. You've got a new coaching staff with a lot of young guys who don't know each other, have not known each other. What's been the challenges and the progress you've seen in them, John?
One thing that we pride ourselves on doing as a staff, and when I say the staff, talking about myself and the coordinators, we always want to coach the coaches. We look for opportunities for the younger coaches to get up in front of position groups and lead meetings and do things, and we give them projects all the time because we're going to win. And when we win, our coaching staff is going to get rated and people are going to come after our coaches because we're going to win.
Yeah,
and so
I see that.
The thought is you develop the guys in the building that you believed in enough to hire and bring here and begin to talk about your culture and your vision and things like that. And then you give them opportunities to watch them teach and watch them run the defensive back room or the linebacker room. And then you give them feedback. And that feedback sometimes is criticism. Hey, do this better. But a lot of times it's more, well, what were you thinking? Like, for example, Clayton today. He's not a young coach, but him calling plays today, at the other end of the field. Like, he's never called plays before. So I asked him how it went. He said, "Man, I did good. I got messed up on one. Would have been a timeout. Would have been a timeout." But I think we're always trying to develop everybody, and we've got some tremendous young coaches, and what they bring in energy and juice. We want to reward that energy and juice that they bring every day by giving them valuable football knowledge that makes them a better coach, more seasoned in fundamentals, better with scheme, better understanding. And I think that's a huge part of the position I sit in, to make sure you're always developing your staff from top to bottom.
Familiar.
All right, I'm gonna run over to the Dak Prescott interview. I want to read a couple of comments before we get over there. Dal 8604. Make sure you put a comment in the chat real quick if you're still on. I want to read a couple of comments in here. I like a couple of these comments. Let me start with the ghost of Mike McCarthy. He said 21-24. That needs to be the limit for points allowed by your defense. Ideally 17-21 would be best. Yeah. See, I want to know what our defense is going to look like. Because if you can tell me what our defense is going to look like, I can really tell you how far we're going to go in the playoffs. Because I do believe we make the playoffs. But I need to know what our offensive and defensive line are going to look like first. And the places that I'm worried are the tackle position. I'm actually not as worried with the cornerbacks. I actually think the cornerback room is going to be okay. I think the cornerback room will be okay. Savon Revel Jr., Deron Bland. I'm really excited about Izzy. Kyer Elam. I think he's going to be a player. I think Trayvon Diggs comes back at some point. I hope he doesn't rush back. I'm concerned because Angie says she wants a real. Oh, here it is. Give us a real defensive tackle. I'm just saying. Angie said it. I'm just saying. Angie said, give us a real defensive tackle. She said, give us a real defensive tackle. And I don't think that's a knock on Osa. I don't think that's a knock on Mozzie. I think that's saying, give us a real run stopper. I think that's what Angie is saying. Give us a real run stopper. Dominique said, I'll take holding a team under 20 points all day. Appreciate that super chat. Facts. And the way you control a game. I said this early on before we started using this word, quote unquote, the trenches. offensive and defensive line. I've been saying this. If you can control both lines of scrimmage, you win a lot of games. Straight up facts. You win a lot of games when you can control the lines of scrimmage. The lines of scrimmage, not just one. See, when Garrett was here, we could control almost one line of scrimmage because we had Frederick, Martin, and Smith. We could control almost one. But we didn't control both. No, we have to be able to control both to where we control the clock on offense, to where we punish and we bludgeon teams with the pass and the play action and the run. We bludgeon teams. And then we come on defense and we stifle teams. We tell them we're going to score, there's nothing you can do, and we're going to stop you from scoring, and there's nothing you can do. When you can do that, you can win a lot of games. And the way you do that is with your defensive and offensive line. And that's why Angie is saying she doesn't want us to treat the defensive tackle position like we can actually just bring in anybody and say, hey, let's just bring in a little bit of a rotation. You know, Mozzie going to take a step. Osa takes another step. We'll go get Jay Toya. You know, we'll get Solomon Thomas and we'll be good enough. I want to see what they look like in training camp. I want to see what they look like in training camp. And quickly, the Cowboys should say that if they feel like they're not where they need to be, start looking and get somebody before we get into the season. Iceberg Slim, what's going on? Iceberg Slim. Iceberg Slim, until Dak wins a Super Bowl, he will be treated like this. Now, Iceberg Slim, I appreciate what you're saying. But I also think that Brian is saying something. It's not until Dak wins a Super Bowl. It's until we win a Super Bowl. That's what Brian is trying to do. We have to win the Super Bowl. We have to win it. We have to win it. That's where he is. That's where what Brian is trying to do. When we win it. Stephen White, what up? When we win it, it's going to be glorious. But we have to win it. Yes, sir. I see you, Dominique. Yes, sir. I'm telling us, when we win it. When we win it. The basement boys in the building, what up with you? When we win it. And that's the mentality we got to get to. We got to get to the point to where we win it. And when we win it, it's going to be glorious. Let's go over here to Dak Prescott real quick. Dak Prescott has his is a lot shorter. Brian, that's a pretty long interview, 35 minutes. But I understand it. You know, I understand why the media had Brian sitting there for 35 minutes. I mean, the reality is this is going to be the last. This is going to be the last piece of Dallas Cowboys media we get as far as the Cowboys being on the field. This is going to be the last we're going to get for what, 3 weeks? About 3 weeks? Man. We're gonna be making up content for the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sure we'll find something. But we're gonna definitely be in there. Yes! Here we go. Now I'm gonna tell you something else I heard today. Yes! Here we go. Unless they're trying to hide the cadence. From what I heard today, the cadence still remains. Maybe they're saving it until they get to training camp. But from what I heard, it was said that here we go was the cadence today. That's what everybody's been saying. Matt D, what up? Angie Sweater swipe left defensive tackle. Seriously, wide receivers haven't had a real Jay Ratliff or Leroy Glover in quite some time. That's one of these positions that don't come around often. They're easy. Yeah. And I'm thankful now, man. The Cowboys have definitely the Cowboys have now got to the Cowboys have to capitalize on George Pickens. The Cowboys have got to capitalize on Pickens. They do. They have to capitalize. And not only do they need to capitalize on Pickens, they need to make sure they sign Pickens. Yeah, the Cowboys need to make sure they sign Pickens. The Cowboys have got to do everything they can do. Y'all forgive me, I'm multitasking. The Cowboys have got to do everything they can do to make sure that they get Pickens signed. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, the Cowboys got to do everything they can do to make sure they get Pickens signed because they can't just have Pickens for one season. The Cowboys have got to have Pickens. All right, Dal8604, give me another comment. I'm trying to find you in here. Big Dal8604, yeah, give me another comment. Yeah, the Cowboys have got to make sure they sign Pickens because they got to keep building this team. They have to keep building this team. They do. They just have to keep building it. All right, let's check out Dak Prescott. I think the Dak Prescott interview, man, this dude, Dak, I'm just telling you, man, you just got to love Dak Prescott. And I do believe Dak Prescott is starting to see his own mortality. Dak Prescott does realize that he is, Dak Prescott is realizing something, y'all, man. This game isn't promised to nobody. And as much as we, sometimes think we should be winning Super Bowls every single season, it don't happen like that. It just don't happen like that. I mean, we would love for it to be, but it just don't happen like that. No, you're not promised. This game is not promised to nobody. I got you, Big Dal. This game isn't promised to nobody. This game is a privilege. It's a privilege to play this game. There's many Dallas Cowboy fans out there, and I'm not going to say many. But there are guys who have played this game that are Dallas Cowboy fans, and I think some of them are Dallas Cowboy content creators. They've played this game on a second level. I mean, they've made it to the collegiate levels. And I don't doubt that some of them were probably good. And I guarantee you, they'll tell you, man, it is a privilege to play this game. Not everybody makes it in this game. Not everybody makes it. And I'm going to tell you something. I've known guys that were good enough to be in the NFL and compete. But they'll tell you, man, once you play or you get a taste of that next level, you understand the competition level is fierce. It's fierce. And you're not promised. You're just not promised. I'm just telling you. You're not promised. And because you're not promised, you have to take advantage. You have to take advantage of it when you can. You do. You have to take advantage of it while you can. It'll pass you by. It'll pass you by so fast, it'll make your head spin. Dak Prescott is feeling the mortality of this game. And I think this is why, if you're listening to him talk, Dak understands that the end is near. Because, again, I just don't know if Dak's going to be one of those 20-year players. I don't. Dak is starting a family. Dak has businesses. Dak has, man, I just don't know. But I know this. Dak wants to get it in now. He absolutely wants to get it in now. Check him out.
Just talk about the importance of CD being here, not being here last year, and also your relationship with Pickens. It seems like you guys have gotten a fast chemistry there.
Yeah, I mean,
what up, Keek? What up, Blue Star?
It's valuable CD being here. I mean, it's hard to even put in comparison him being here, the work we're able to get versus last year, versus him under the contract negotiations. But just to have him here, having these practices, getting off to a good start, understanding each other, what we're trying to accomplish, has been monumental. And then obviously adding GP, something that's been monumental. And I've said it before, when you bring in guys like that, talented guys I've played with over the years, that you look at their resume and they're winning, I mean, that's credit to them. They make that process of me getting to know them that much easier. They know how to get separation. They know how to win at the ball. For me, it's just about learning their bodies and just making sure communicating a few things for them.
So much was.
Now, I want you to hear what Dak said. Guys who know how to get separation. Yeah. This is why him and George Pickens are going to be best friends. There's a reason. I'm telling y'all, Dak got a new friend. Dak straight up got a new friend, y'all. He does. And his name is George Pickens. Dak got a new friend. And I'm telling you, George Pickens and Dak Prescott are about to put up some insane numbers. I'm telling y'all, George Pickens and Dak Prescott are about to put up some insane numbers. They are. They are about to put up some insane numbers. And in the process, CeeDee Lamb is just going to be CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, I've already said it before. CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 wide receiver in this league. CeeDee Lamb is going to do his thing. But I'm going to tell you this. We may be having a conversation by the end of this season. We may literally be having a conversation by the end of this season where George Pickens is going to be in the top 5 or top 7 receivers in this league. I'm telling us. I'm telling us. And this is why it is so important. The Cowboys are going to have to try to lock the Cowboys are literally going to have to try and lock up George Pickens. They got to try to lock him up. They have to try to lock him up because I'm telling you, what him and Dak are going to do, it is going to be literal insanity. It is. It's going to be literal insanity. George Pickens, Dak is saying something. He's made it easy for me to like him because he's doing exactly what a wide receiver is supposed to do. He's making it easy. What up, Carl? I see you. What's up? He's making it easy. George Pickens is going to change this team. He's going to be one of the people that's going to help move the needle. Carl says, "Hey, check this out. Can one said that Tom Landry's Cowboys were the best of all time as against other Cowboys under Jimmy or Jerry?" I could probably, you know what? Man, I've already said I'll take them 92, 93 Cowboys, man. I don't know, boy. I think I could run through every generation in the NFL and beat everybody. But I'll tell you this. That Roger Staubach era, boy. Roger Staubach is the best quarterback in Cowboys history. And I'm telling us, hands down. If there was a quarterback that could make a difference in a football game that you're in a close battle with, it's Roger Staubach. Staubach was before his time. Staubach is the quarterback. I'm telling y'all. Staubach is the quarterback that could actually play in any generation. Any generation. He could run, and I mean he could run. He could run the ball. He could throw the ball. Every throw, pinpoint passer, field general, tough as they come, football mind, Roger Staubach hands down. Yeah, those Tom Landry Cowboys were tough. Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, Tony Hill, all those type of guys. Some of the guys they had on defense, Waters, Harris, Bruning. I mean, they had some players, man. Too Tall. Boy, they had some players. Too Tall Jones, Martin. I mean, you could just go Hollywood, Henderson. They had players. I do believe, though, the 92, 93 Cowboys was an absolute super team. I just think they were an absolute super team. They were. They were a super team. I think they'd be hard to deal with, Carl. I do. But again, Dak Prescott, man. Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott is seeing mortality. But again, George Pickens is really going to do a lot of things to help Dak Prescott out. But again, I said it and I'm saying it. But George Pickens is not enough. George Pickens is actually not enough. He's a great piece. He's not enough. George Pickens will be the difference in winning some games. But now that you have George Pickens, now we need to say, all right, what is our defensive line really going to look like? Are we satisfied with this defensive line? Do we have the lineup we need at offensive line? That's what we got to figure out. That's what we have to figure out.
Said about GP and his reputation come out of Pittsburgh, what have you noticed about him? Just not on the field, but off the field, the type of person he is, and how you guys interact in this locker room.
Yeah, I don't think that's why you should ever really listen to what somebody else says about somebody. I think you should judge everyone not judge, but find out for yourself who they are and allow them to reveal their character to you. The guy's been great. He's been phenomenal. He's a guy that loves football, loves his teammates. He's been excited every day that he's been there. He's been early. So no concerns on the personal matters of GP and anything about it. Just super excited that he's on our team. He's one of us, and he's a brother, and it's just about continuing to grow and making sure that we're putting the best out there, and that's his approach.
Definitely take your trip here.
There it is. See, this is one of the things that I always hate. Folks still do this stuff today. Before somebody even get to know somebody, they'll let somebody else tell them that person is a bad person. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that you don't necessarily listen to a warning. Listen to a warning. But also observe that person. And make sure that maybe what that person is talking about, that other person, maybe it's more of some kind of personal issue they have with that person. Maybe they could just be jealous of that person. Maybe they had a misunderstanding. Maybe they had a personal beef. There are so many people that miss out on relationship blessings by listening to what somebody else says about somebody else. Sometimes you got to let a person prove to you who they are. And so he's saying something. I'm not going by what anyone else has said about George Pickens. He's saying, from everything that I've seen, and I said this, y'all, I can kind of understand. I'm not justifying George Pickens' bad attitude, but I can understand why he had a bad attitude. Look at the quarterbacks he played with. Look at the team he was on. Look at what he was going through. George Pickens is saying, man, I'm in a way better atmosphere now. Sheesh. I'm in a way better situation. So I'm good now. All I'm ready to do is get this thing on the field. That's what he's saying. I'm just ready to get this thing on the field now. And I think everybody is there. I think we want to get it on the field. They want to get it on the field. It's time to get it on the field. Hey, I like some of the stuff y'all saying. Hey, I love them 70s Cowboys. I think Roger Staubach is literally the best quarterback we've ever had. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks to ever play this game. But that doggone 92, 93 Dallas Cowboys. Whew! The defense was crazy. See, when we talk about the 90s Cowboys, I'm not talking about Troy Aikman. Man, I love Troy Aikman. One of the greatest field generals we've ever seen. But I also knew what Troy Aikman was before he got that team. And then when I see him with that team, and then when he was not with that team again, he was the same guy he was before he got the team. But that team with Troy Aikman, that offensive and defensive line, they were juggernauts. That's why I tell you, I'll take that 92, 93 team. Boy, I'll run through history with that thing. We controlled games. We controlled games. And we could win any kind of way you wanted to win. If we needed to break the glass on a shootout, we'll break the glass on a shootout. But we played nasty. The Cowboys played nasty football. They did. The Cowboys bludgeoned you on the offensive line. They beat you. They bludgeoned you at the point of attack. Emmitt Smith was rarely getting touched at the line of scrimmage. Rarely getting touched behind the line of scrimmage. That offensive line was, that offensive line could have literally been a defensive line. That thing was nasty. Nobody wanted to see those guys, man. They were scary. They were scary. I'll take that team running through history, boy. That offensive and defensive line was crazy. And not even to mention my favorite wide receiver of all time, Michael Irvin. You got Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. They got a lead back in Daryl Johnston. Man, I'm telling you, them 90s Cowboys were crazy. They were crazy. They were. Don't mean them 70s Cowboys were not good. They were too. Again, because I'm telling you, Roger was the real deal. Roger was the real deal. But boy, them 90s Cowboys are crazy. Woo, man. And Angie said, who these people? Angie said, you going on my head. She said, who these people? Don't worry, Angie. We're going to take them 90s Cowboys. We're going to roll with them. We're going to roll with them 90s Cowboys. What up, Richard Owens? Yeah, we're going to roll with them 90s Cowboys.
I assume you do with the skill guys you've done a lot of times now. Is there more importance on that because you're still getting to know Pickens, you got CD back here. What with that, and what do you try to get out of that weekend that you guys are together?
Yeah, I mean, it's just after we break here for a couple of weeks, and then before we get back together for a couple of weeks, just want one check in on guys, right? Just get them all there, make sure that they're in shape, doing the things that they need to do. They're seeing the ball. That's one big part of it. I mean, you can catch a lot of jugs, you can catch passes, but you want to catch them from catching them from the quarterbacks. And then lastly, there's that camaraderie, getting those guys together. Like you said, getting George here just in the last couple of months, know him, right? We're growing, but just getting to know him better, deeper, getting to know all the guys, especially with a new receivers coach, right? These guys are coming in trying to change little things and little nuances that just gives them another time to work together. So super excited about the trip.
You've had a hand.
This man, Dak Prescott, I'm telling y'all, Dak, the stuff that Brian Schottenheimer is doing, Dak was already trying to do this. Dak was already trying to do this. That's what these trips have been about. But Dak is the quarterback. He can only do so much. While he's taking the skill position players, he's not going to take the defense. He's not managing the defense. Now, this is where I hope Michael Parsons takes a page out of Dak Prescott's book. Michael Parsons, how about you take the defense on a retreat? How about you do that? Maybe you do the lineman. I wish Trayvon Diggs was in better shape and got things going. He could take the defensive backs. I wish they could do these things. But Dak was already trying to do some of this stuff that Brian Schottenheimer is doing. And Unlucky, he chimed in on something that I've already said. Unlucky is saying the same thing. Brian Schottenheimer is trying to get some of this off of Dak Prescott's plate. I've been saying this. I believe it to be true too, Unlucky. He's trying to instill in this team. It can't just be Dak doing some of these things that he's doing. It's got to be more than Dak Prescott, because I'm telling you, some of the things that Shotty is doing, Dak was already talking about this stuff. And even Dak mentions, think about what Dak just said. Dak says, okay, what is this whole retreat about? Notice, Dak is talking like a coach. Dak said, we want to make sure guys are in shape. That's your job, Dak? Well, he's making it his job. Want to make sure guys are in shape. Not only making sure guys are in shape. What else are you trying to do, Dak? I want to make sure guys understand all of the nuances that have been implemented. What else are you trying to make sure, Dak? I'm trying to make sure that guys, we understand each other. Where I'm going to throw the ball or where you want the ball. How can we make sure we're on the same page? What's your body language like? Dak is trying to make sure that there's a connection between all of them. But Dak been doing this. And this is one of the things that Dak confessed about a couple of weeks ago. That when Dak was saying that everything was going good or everything was this, that, and the other, he was saying, I was only saying that from the offensive perspective. That's the only place I was saying it from. Because I can't do this for the whole team. Because if Dak does it for the whole team, he almost oversteps some of his own boundaries, because how does Michael feel about that? How would D. Law have felt about that? How does anybody feel about that when, there is a certain overseership that we want the quarterback to have, but we don't want him to be dabbling in the full business of the defense because we need him really to be focused on the offense. So Brian Schottenheimer is saying, all right, we got a coach. Now I'm going to be the coach. My job is to empower more people. That's what great leaders do. Great leaders empower people around them. That's what great leaders do. And as they do this, they also try to sink back because they want other people to get the glory. They asked Brian Schottenheimer, what has he done earlier? You see what he said? I don't think I've done much. Stop it, Brian. You've done a ton. You've done a ton, Brian. But Brian is smart. Let other guys get the glory. Because the goal is for everybody, the empowerment of and the growth of people. And this is what Dak Prescott, he's been doing this stuff. This isn't new. He just couldn't do it for the whole team.
Handful of play callers here now that this offseason program is wrapping up. What do you kind of see shaping for the Schottenheimer offense? What are some things you're excited for about it?
Yeah, his approach. He spoke on it, I believe, a good bit on the team that we're going to be, the way that we're going to go in and attack defenses, be aggressive, run first, open up the actions and things like that. So for me, it's just about going back and looking at the past games and seasons that he's called, and they've been successful. So I'm super excited about it. Just ready to get to it.
How much of opening up the actions is an emphasis for your game offensively?
Huge. Something I've always loved doing. I think you can go back and numbers are usually pretty good and run action, play action. So, but that's probably any quarterback, right? You got to establish the run first, and when you do that, you get the one-on-ones. We're allowing GP to be one-on-one, CD to be one-on-one, Ferg, and when you can do that, we're going to have the upper hand.
You've told us in the past about liking pre-snap motion just because sometimes it can give you some tells on the defense. Shotty's said that's kind of what you guys are employing a bit more. What is your standpoint on it now that you guys are putting it into camp and into OTAs and all of that?
Yeah, it's not something that we haven't done before. It's just about being the matter of when we utilize it, how we utilize it. It always depends on the defense. It depends on whether they're changing up, whether they change their calls on the motion and things like that. So it's just about us doing it at the right time, tagging at the right time. But more important than me, the receivers. And you can see how dialed in they are to it, giving communications of what they're seeing as they're in motion. It's great for all of us seeing pre-snap, open some things up.
You talk about establishing the run. What are your thoughts on Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue through the offseason program?
Yeah, great group. It starts with their coach. Fosse's done a great job with those guys. Deuce as well, Hunter, right? All of those guys. Make sure they're prepared. And they've come in and attacked. Honestly, I don't think we've ever – it's not like we're redoing things or because of the backs or, these guys aren't getting it right. They're professionals, right? You're talking about guys who have had pretty good careers and looking here to take it to the next level. So those are two guys just excited for their opportunity and some young guys who are going to make some noise.
I'm going to tell you what's been a big surprise for me is the talk about Miles Sanders. The talk about Miles Sanders has been like, for me, it's been like, wait a minute. You telling me that Miles Sanders might be about to be the Dallas Cowboys RB1? Miles Sanders is about to be we got to see what it looks like in training camp, and I definitely want to see what it looks like in the preseason when they start playing some preseason ball. You're telling me that Miles Sanders is going to be RB1 for the Cowboys? Now, again, I don't even really think it matters if he's RB1 if the offensive line is what it is. If the offensive line is good, it's really not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. But I'll be honest with you. I'm really wanting Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa to work themselves to the first team. I would like to see some youth at the running back position. I really would. I'd like to see some youth. I just think Phil Maffa, if we can get this man on track, he's a bell cow back. Definitely a bell cow back. I would love to see him, Jaden Blue, change of pace back, a lot of speed. I'm hearing Deuce Vaughn has been with the 2s, and Jaden, I guess, has been with the 3s. But we're going to see. I think I'm not going to put a lot of stock into this because the other day, Brandon Stanford and Schoonmaker were running with the 1s. And then today, Ferguson was running with the 1s. So I do think that Schottenheimer and his crew, I think they're trying to get guys some reps because I've also noticed where people are saying that the Cowboys need to get rid of Will Grier. What are we talking about? Why do we need to get rid of Will Grier? How about we let him compete? How about we let Will Grier compete? Because if we're saying that Joe Milton's going to make Dak Prescott better, well, why won't Will Grier make Joe Milton better? Rather than, so we're saying that we want to build a competitive atmosphere. Well, don't let Joe Milton think because we gave up a sixth round draft pick. Don't make, hey, you got the job. The backup job is yours. No. If he can't beat out Will Grier, let's not hand him the job. It's the same thing with Jonathan Mingo. If Mingo can't beat out Tolbert, and if Jalen Tolbert is toe-burnt, like Angie says, well, why would we just say, Jonathan Mingo, we gave up a fourth rounder. We gave up a fourth rounder for you. You're going to be in front of Jalen Tolbert because we think you have the potential to be better. No. Bro, if you can't beat out Jalen Tolbert, and that's not saying anything bad about Jalen Tolbert because I'm going to tell you something about Jalen Tolbert. Y'all, that joke of Jalen Tolbert, boy, it's about to be some people. Angie, cover your ears. It's about to be some people disappointed when it comes to this dude, Jalen Tolbert. You watch what I tell you. Jalen Tolbert's about to make another step. Jalen Tolbert's about to make another step. You watch what I tell you. Jalen Tolbert is going to make another step, and I do believe Jalen Tolbert's going to be the number 3 wide receiver. There are some people saying Kevontae Turpin. Trust me, you don't want Kevontae Turpin to be your number 3 receiver because that's not what he is. Kevontae Turpin is your gadget mismatch guy. That's what Kevontae Turpin is. Kevontae Turpin is that guy that you're going to bring in when you're going to put in 4 wide receivers. Or maybe you're going to put him in the backfield. And then you're going to bring him in motion. And then you're going to single him out on a linebacker. Or you're going to put him in the slot. And you're going to try to get him on a rub route. And you're going to try to get him in space. You're going to get him on a jet sweep. That's what Kevontae Turpin is. You put him in the game so that you can maybe he clears out the field. Maybe he clears out the middle of the field, the underneath. Maybe he clears it out. You send him on a go route. You get the safeties to cheat the Kevontae Turpin, and then you get up the seam, Ferguson. That's what Kevontae Turpin is. We've already seen what Kevontae Turpin is when they've tried to turn him into a traditional wide receiver. He's actually not a traditional wide receiver. Kevontae Turpin, to me, is what you call a playmaking gadget guy. He's a guy that you say, we're not going to treat him like a wide receiver. We just want to get the ball in his hand. We just got to get the ball in his hand. That's what we have to figure out. How do we get the ball in his hand? Get the ball in his hand. That's what Turpin is. But Tolbert, y'all watch what I tell you. Tolbert is going to win this job. Tolbert's going to win this job. And I think the reason why Tolbert is going to win this job is that Tolbert is going to break the bank for number 3 wide receivers. So Mingo may not be right now to take Tolbert's spot. Mingo may be that when the Cowboys say Tolbert's price may be too high, then we'll have Jonathan Mingo to take Tolbert's spot, not this year, but next. Yeah. Mahoney said, gee, when they gonna blame you, you gotta you gotta do stuff like that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm telling this, man, again, Dak Prescott, he's ready to win. It's obvious. Dak is ready to win. Dak's ready to win. And we got a coach that is going to get them on the same page because Dak couldn't have done this by himself. He couldn't.
Has it been a fast 10 years for you? Or
Super fast.
Yeah.
Fast? Is it hard to be reflective on that?
Mortality.
You saying super fast?
No, it's not hard to be reflective. I think you have to, especially with how they've been. Some being injured, some getting to knocking on the door and not finishing it.
That's it, Angie.
You have to, and I think what it does really is
and that
makes you great.
Angie, that was the mistake they made. He was not ready to be an Amari. And we'll see. I think he's going to take another step this year. But Angie, it's not a lot of wide receivers that were Amari in his prime. Shoot, man. This dude, Amari, is a technician at route running. Stupid hands. Technician as route running. And people underestimate just how strong this dude, Amari Cooper, is.
Grateful for the opportunity. Every day you get to walk into this building, you're healthy. Every day you get to approach your teammates, you get to approach this game that you love. So for me, it's about not taking anything for granted, living in the moment, soaking up everything, and just making sure I'm the best version of myself to push these other guys to do that. And I know we'll feel good about the results.
See, I'm going to tell you something that I see about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott understands it's a privilege to play this game. The lifespan as far as an NFL career, last time I think it was about 3 years. Dak Prescott is going into his 10th year. Now, Dak Prescott is not where Tony Romo was. Tony Romo, I believe, was 35 when he got that injury? Dak Prescott also understands something. He could get injured too. Now, we're not going to talk like that, but Dak understands. I gotta really swing for the fences. I really got to swing for the fences in these last few years because I don't know how many I have left. Dak don't know how many I have left. And I'm going to tell you, man, Dak mess around and pull a John Elway. And get about two championships in the next 3 years. Shoot. Dak may say he gonna hang it up. Dak may say if they get a couple Super Bowls over the next 3 seasons, he may shock everybody. But I do believe that Dak is putting everything into perspective. It's time to win now. Dak wants to win now because he knows it's a privilege and it's not promised. He wants to win now. The Cowboys got a little bit more to go, though. They got to keep building. They got some more to go. Money Mayfield said people forget Dak is a real Cowboys fan himself. Facts. Remember the Romo post that came out his rookie season? He wants to win for us. Facts. Dak loves the Dallas Cowboys. He does. Unlucky said, I know that stung the nation. Hey, he wants to win. He does. C-Bay said, I have a feeling Mingo was another Martavius Bryant. Dalvin Cook, repeat, dude was traded for only to never play a down or a series. Yeah, C-Base, I think he's going to have some patience. I'm just telling y'all, man, I like Jonathan Mingo. I just don't think he's going to beat Tolbert. Angie, close your ears. I don't think he's going to beat Tolbert. I don't. Angie said something earlier that is the key to why I believe that Mingo is not going to beat Mingo is not going to beat Tolbert. I'm not caring about any OTA talk of Mingo catching 5 passes and people talking about he's gaining on Tolbert. No, he's not. No, he's not gaining on Tolbert. I'm telling you now, these coaches, there's a reason why Tolbert is running with the ones. These coaches have watched both of them. They've watched both of them. From OTAs to now the minicamp. Do you know who keeps lining up with the ones? Tolbert. And we may not even want to admit this part, but Tolbert may have a higher upside than Jonathan Mingo. For whatever reason, Tolbert came into the game late. Tolbert hasn't even reached his full potential. Now I see why Will McClay got him. Because they knew that that Jalen Tolbert had a high ceiling. And I know we don't like what I'm saying, but for Jalen Tolbert to be in his 4th year, And we're still saying that Jalen Tolbert is going to take another step? That means that Jalen Tolbert has not reached his ceiling. Jalen Tolbert hasn't reached his ceiling. And I think the Cowboys believe this too. And I think that's why they're continuing to roll with Tolbert. And I believe that because Tolbert is always rolling with Dak Prescott, anytime Dak Prescott calls somebody to throw, here comes Jalen Tolbert. And that in itself, remember what Dak said? Guy's body language. Guy's ability to get open. I got news for us. Jalen Tolbert's separation last year was 2.3. That is nothing to sneeze at. That was nothing to sneeze at. That was actually better than Amari Cooper last year. That's how good Jalen Tolbert was. But I think the problem was, Angie said it, they were trying to turn him into Amari Cooper. Well, maybe he's not Amari Cooper. I know he's not Amari Cooper. Because there's not a lot of other receivers that are as good as Amari Cooper was in his prime. But maybe what Jalen Tolbert is about to be is Jalen Tolbert. Yeah, I think Tolbert's going to beat Mingo. Flat out, he's going to beat him. I don't think he's going to beat Tolbert. I don't. Angie, close your ears. I'm just telling you, he ain't going to beat Tolbert. Mingo only becomes the next wide receiver here because I believe Tolbert is going to command next year Tolbert as a third wide receiver. If you look at what Bateman got paid, and while Bateman may be some say he's a better wide receiver than Tolbert, but I think Tolbert may actually prove that he may be better than Bateman this year or in the same conversation. Well, we saw what Bateman got paid. Tolbert is probably going to be a $12 million to $14 million third. He's going to be a $12 to $14 million wide receiver. And he'll probably give the Cowboys a discount. That'll still probably put him at $10 million. Just telling you. I just think Tolbert with Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, I think he's going to be different. Unlucky said, I think that's what Unlucky was talking about when he said that Stone Cowboy Nation.
Along those same lines, going into the training camp break again here, how does this feel different, if at all, from some of the previous years going into the break?
As a team, as myself, yeah, I mean, just experience. I mean, you get older, this OTA is just the way that I've been seeing at minicamp. The communication with Shotty, with the quarterbacks, our quarterback room. Just a lot of good things, a lot of really good things that have me in a great place.
Yeah,
I'm healthy, excited as hell.
The question is asked of Tyler Smith and obviously Schottenheimer, but as the quarterback, what are you seeing from Tyler Guyton's hit attacks year two and Tyler Booker incoming at right guard? Very,
very excited and pleased with their approach and the way that they've taken this offseason. I spoke about Book before, but then Guyton's made a huge step. And it's in the mentals, it's in
Now, we got to get some pads on this. But I think what Dak is saying is in his technique. Because for all intents and purposes, Tyler Guyton has the strength. I said this, I've been saying this since last year. It's not that Guyton doesn't have the strength. Guyton don't have the footwork. Guyton is not a technician. He don't have the footwork and the handwork. He got to get the footwork and the handwork right because that's where people were beating him. If you run straight at Tyler Guyton, you ain't got a chance. He is obviously a strong kid. You don't have a chance running straight at him. But when you start putting moves on him, when you start using your hands on him, that's where he struggles. So the place that Guyton has got to make the step at the left tackle position is his technique. The use of his hands. His footwork. The way he moves his body. That's where Guyton has got to get better. So, again, you're talking about OTAs. You're talking about mandatory minicamp. I don't think the defense is actually running at full speed. They're not trying to knock each other down. They're actually not even trying to put each other in a position to where they're going to put strain on each other's knees, legs, and stuff like that. So, we got to get pads on it. We got to get them in training camp against other teams and then see it in the preseason. I do think Guyton will get some preseason work. It might not be a whole lot, but I think we're going to get a glimpse of what he's going to be. Yeah, DeKizzle, he said Mingo, Ringo, Dingo. He said Tolbert is 3 for sure. I think it's going to be number 3 for sure. I do. Hey, Mingo might be cooked. Ice Cold said he don't think he makes it this season. Angie said she thinking like Ice Cold. I'm just telling us, man. This dude Tolbert, for whatever reason, I got to do some more studying on Tolbert. But I noticed he keeps saying he came to the game late. So that's telling me he must not have started playing football till somewhere around his junior year in high school. Because he's saying that he hasn't even reached his full potential yet. And I think that's saying something. I think they're literally saying that his upside, they like his upside. And he hasn't even reached it. And what he did last year, those were Bateman-like numbers. Bateman-like numbers. Bateman wished. I don't even think he scored 7 touchdowns. Ice Cold Slim got me rolling. He said Trayshawn holding his head of Miko. Whoa, I'm rolling in on that one, boy. I'm rolling. Simo says fire 100%. He got me rolling. Iceberg Slim got me rolling in here. Lucky said, if that happens, we're wasting trades that could have given the defense more bodies. Yeah, I think a lot of people were kind of unlucky, like, why in the world did we do the Mingo thing? But, again, D-Block 88, what up? D-Block, I'm with you. I'm telling you, I think Tolbert's the number 3. I think he's the number 3, and I don't think Mingo gonna knock him off either. I don't think he gonna knock him off. And they just said Flo gets no shine either. Oh, man. Flournoy, I think he's got a lot of potential. I do. I really want to see what Flournoy is. But isn't it crazy? We're hearing this name again, Cropper. Cropper does so great in the preseason. And then we never hear from him again. Iceberg said, I told y'all Mingo can't beat out Tolbert. I don't think he is. I don't. My money said he is what he is at this point. I don't think he's going to beat him out. D-Block 88, and there's the key. I think we're going to figure out something about Tolbert and Dak Prescott. I think Tolbert is going to be Dak Prescott's new Cedric Wilson. And I think somebody had already said that a few days ago. I think Tolbert is going to be Dak Prescott's safety blanket. I think he's going to be his Cedric Wilson. I think when Dak finds himself, if he finds himself in a situation to where he's got to run out of the pocket and he's looking for a receiver, he's going to be looking for Tolbert. He'll be looking for Tolbert. Christopher Cook, yeah, they wasted that 4th round pick. We got to, again, I could be totally wrong. I'm not afraid of being wrong. But I just got a strange feeling that Mingo's not going to beat Tolbert. He's not going to beat him. Now, they could keep him and see what happens with Tolbert at the end of this season, because if Tolbert produces, I'm telling y'all, he's going to probably play his way out of Dallas if he has that kind of, if there's a demand for him on the market. Because if we'll look at his contract after we get done listening to Dak Prescott and see kind of where they are on him as far as they'll probably pick up that 5th-year option. Let's see. Let's check out Dak some more.
His approach, it's in his preparation, it's in the way that he's taking care of his body, working out and practicing. So not going to be surprised with the jump that he makes this year, because I've watched every step in the process that he's put into this, and excited for him.
The health aspect feeling pretty good after all the offseason program?
Yeah, definitely do. As I said, all right, got to start it early, so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And where I'm at now, feeling great of going into this. I don't want to say break, but ramp up, I guess you can say, with some family time before we get into camp.
Yeah, I've seen you kind of have that connection with Jake Ferguson on the scene.
And you know what? Hey, guys, I'm going to tell y'all something. I think some of us were on to something, and I think some of y'all were on to something. When I first started this channel, we were talking about Dak Prescott being in a boot. Angie, Nisi, do y'all remember these conversations? Keith, do you remember this conversation There's another guy, I forgot his name. He used to be on here all the time, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. But we were all talking about Dak Prescott being in a boot. Do y'all remember that? And I'm starting to wonder, for as much as some people say Dak Prescott actually was not injured last year, I don't even understand that conversation. I mean, the cahoots that everybody would have to be in for something like that to happen. And I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. But do y'all remember that we were talking about Dak Prescott being in a boot? And some of y'all were saying that y'all felt like the Dak Prescott was actually hurt. Dak Prescott was actually hurt. Yeah, a lot of y'all was saying he was already hurt. And I wonder if there's some truth to that. Because it seemed like there were some things that were a little off with Dak the whole season last year. I mean, he had flashes of that MVP season. But I think what has happened with Dak Prescott and the reason why he's feeling so good this year and why I think we're going to see what we are used to seeing with Dak Prescott is because I think he's actually healthy this season. I think Dak Prescott is actually healthy. And I'm not sure Dak Prescott was all the way healthy last year. And I didn't want to admit it because I was just kind of like, I understand as a person that had a broke collarbone that sometimes when it rained, my collarbone used to hurt long years ago, got past that. And I know that people, when they have broken bones, for some reason, when there's moisture in the air and maybe they get on some water, they start feeling some pain too. But it's strange to me that Dak was wearing that boot and then didn't finish the season. And now we're watching Dak Prescott, and man, he looks 100% healthy this year. For sure, he looks 100% healthy. And I think this is one of the reasons why Dak is feeling the way he's feeling. Goes to Mike McCarty said, I just think, though, that Pickens with that 6'3" frame and long arms could easily be Dak's #1 target as this season goes on, though. I think he is going to be. I think Tolbert is going to be his safety valve. But goes to Mike McCarthy, it will not shock me if he has more yards and touchdowns than CeeDee Lamb. It's already being talked about that they're using Pickens in the corner routes in the red zone. They're using him for those routes, which I think he is perfectly suited for it. I think the Cowboys tried to make CeeDee Lamb into that type of wide receiver. I don't think that's CeeDee Lamb's. That's not his thing. It doesn't seem to be his thing to me. Yeah, T-Line, he says TB, TG, and T. Yeah, they call it the Tyler Wall or something to that effect. O-line heavy. Yeah, if this O-line, if this offensive line is what it's supposed to be, Cowboys going to be right. Iceberg. Yeah, Angie's right on that. Yeah, he's got to get stronger and become a better blocker. I think he will. I think he will. This guy keeps making steps. I'm telling you, this guy keeps making steps. D-Block, Guyton was a rookie. Come on, he has to develop people. Yeah. Yeah, and D-Block, I think that's one of the problems. I think the Cowboys may have put a little too much on him. Might have put a little too much on Guyton. I mean, to have a rookie who only played 8 games at left tackle in his college career and then have that guy come in and now you're telling him he's going to be the left tackle of the Dallas Cowboys? Man, let alone the left tackle of any team. Boy, that's heavy. Man, that's heavy stuff, D-Block. I'm telling you. I think the Cowboys may have put a little too much on him. But I think it'll pay dividends now. I think it'll pay dividends. I think he takes another step. We just got to see what that step is. What in the world? He just said, Dak beard thicker than Tolbert hairline. Hey, Angie, I'm telling you, though, Tolbert, hey, he's just got an unflattering edge. He got an unflattering hairstyle. I don't know what's up with these youngsters wearing that hairstyle look like that. My sons was wearing that hairstyle a couple of months ago, and it's not very flattering to a person's head. Angie, I'm telling you, you see Jalen Tolbert in person, you'll change your mind. You'll change your mind. DC said his beard is thicker than Tolbert, is better than Tolbert's hairline and Michael's. Hey, Niecy, Michael said he going with the bald head. We're going to see. We're going to see if he go with the bald head this coming season. All right, let's finish this thing up with Dak.
ball. He was talking yesterday about how he's never really gone a full year without a touchdown before last year. How much has that trust been building, and what's the relationship like between you and him right now?
Yeah, our relationship's great. I think if I probably finish that season out, he's going to get a touchdown. Yeah, it sucks though. As a guy's competitor, he wants to win, has high standards. So, yeah, I know a year like that is only pushing him. And I've seen in the way that he's approaching this offseason and attacking everything, the details, the question he's asking. Our relationship is only growing. He's a talented guy. He's an enforcer on this offense, and we need him.
As you get older in this sport,
JoJo.
as you get older,
All right, brother, be safe.
as you get older in this sport, how much do you think about the legacy I'm leaving with this franchise? Because obviously this franchise is judged on championships.
Yeah, I want to win a championship. The legacy, the things, whatever comes after I finish playing will take care of itself. I want to win a championship.
Yeah.
Be damned if it's just for my legacy or it's for this team, for my personal being, for my sanity. Yeah, the legacy will take care of itself. I have to stay where my feet are.
In terms of
Yeah. Dak is saying he wants to win. Bottom line. Dak is saying all the accolades, they don't really get you where you want to be. See, a lot of people don't understand. See, the stats matter when it comes to contract time. That's when the stats matter. The stats matter for contract time. But when it comes to your inner peace, Super Bowls are what you want. Super Bowls are what you want. Everybody wants that feeling. What does it feel like to win those Super Bowls, man? That's what everybody wants. And Dak wants that Super Bowl. He does. And that's why I tell people, man, y'all got to stop this stuff about Dak Prescott is only playing. Talk about Dak got the money and all this stuff. Nah, Dak ain't just playing for the money. That's what people don't understand. Y'all forgive me, I'm multitasking. Yeah, Dak ain't just playing for the money, y'all. Dak is not just playing for the money. Dak is playing for the chip. Dak is playing for the chip. There was a comment in here. I said I want to read a couple comments. I want to read right here. Yeah, I want to read this comment from RS. I appreciate that. And let me start back here, boy. Y'all got some great comments. Angie got me rolling. Niecy, I told Angie if she sees Jalen Tolbert in person, she gonna change her mind, especially if he take that hairstyle out. He got that dude, he wear a different hairstyle or something. Angie gonna change her mind. Angie said, I doubt that, G. Oh, you got me rolling. Goes to Mike McCarthy. He said, I give Guyton a bit of a leash since he was asked to learn to play left tackle at the NFL level when he spent his college days playing right tackle. Not the easiest transition to make, much less at the highest level. Yeah, I think it was really tough. That's why I said, too, goes to Mike McCarthy. I mean, come on. You get this guy 8 games as a left tackle in college, and then you bring him into the pros and say, hey, you're going to be a left tackle. Start left tackle in this league. And by the way, also for the Dallas Cowboys. People don't understand the added pressure when you put a Dallas Cowboy on the end of it. And if you're good and you put a Dallas Cowboy on the end of it, it's just that much greater. That's why George Pickens is going to be like, it's going to be bonkers if George Pickens does what we think he is. Jerry going to have to break the bank on him. Jerry going to have to break the bank on George Pickens. And I think, you know what? As cheap as they are, I got a strange feeling. They may break the bank on George Pickens. They may break the bank. If they don't give him 30, I will not be surprised if the Cowboys figure out a way to give him 25. They may absolutely break the bank on George Pickens. Yeah. For sure. Christopher Cook says something that I like. He says, we have to remember that Dak hasn't had a shot at his whole career. Dak will eat this year for real. Yes, sir. I've been saying the same thing. Yeah, I've been saying the same thing. Yeah. Guyton will be fine. He's a Sooner. Yeah. And again, I still say the Cowboys don't have to just play him at left tackle. He could be a right tackle. They got options. Guyton, though, he needs to be a part of the plan. But I want Brock Hoffman to be a part of the plan too. He's a straight up dog. Kevin says Tyler Smith was a rookie and balled out. Let's stop giving Guyton excuses. Uh-oh. I feel you, Kevin Edwards. I feel you. But you know what, Kevin? Tyler Smith different. And that's why I say that the Cowboys have options. Ty Smith is obviously the best offensive lineman the Cowboys have. He is, undoubtedly. I really do think the Cowboys should consider. This is just me. I think the Cowboys should absolutely consider putting him at the left tackle position. All right, y'all hold on just a second. I got to get something. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back before we close. All right, had to fix that choppiness. That choppiness was not your bandwidth. That choppiness was my MacBook, whatever, if I forget to plug it up, which it is plugged up, but it's a long story. But it'll start trying to conserve power, and that's what that choppiness was. But again, yeah, the Cowboys really did put a lot on Guyton, but I think Guyton's going to be okay. All right, let's check him out.
Personnel and scheme, how much better do you think this offense will be this season?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with personnel.
Yeah.
The changes we've made, and not just offense, but defense as well. Bringing in people. I mean, obviously with George adds.
Appreciate your
really
RS.
opens
Love
up
you
all
too,
those other
man.
receivers, right? Some of the guys we were looking for, who's going to be the two. I mean, I think it just gives them a little safety net in the sense to go earn and just to go play free.
D-Block.
And,
What up? You know you're
go
my
make a
man.
huge jump. Guys like Mingo and Tolbert and yeah, the way the backs have approached this thing, I'm super excited. I mean, I know we've made some changes, I said, or as you said, personnel, and then the scheme, that'll just come with it. I think Schotty's done a good job with this mini camp of putting guys in the right places, putting guys in space, and allowing guys to see how he's going to use them.
Does Schotty seem like a first-time NFL head
I see you,
coach?
Johnny Blue. What up?
No, and I think when you've been an assistant for 30 years, that's the reason he doesn't seem that way, and he's doing a hell of a job.
What are you going to take from this offseason, being that it started earlier from you into this coming season?
I mean, just that I'm healthy. I mean, it's been a great offseason. It's going to continue to be a great offseason until we get into camp. So, honestly, just the momentum, just staying healthy and the momentum of this mini camp, these OTAs, and making sure that I'm not the only one who keeps that momentum, but the rest of the guys, and make sure some of these young guys are doing the things necessary and taking care of their bodies to hit the ground running when we get together in July.
This is the key for Dak Prescott. We ain't gonna dwell on this too long. But this is the quiet. This is the quiet part we gotta say out. We have to say out loud. This is where Dak is focused. Dak has got to stay healthy. He knows he has to stay healthy. This is where he is. He knows because Dak sees finally. I just don't think Dak has seen this. I don't think he's seen this since his rookie season. Y'all, a lot of y'all, and Angie, you 31, so I know I'm not talking too far back for you now. I know I'm not talking too far back. In 2016, I think that now that Dak Prescott can look back and reflect, I don't think it was the San Francisco games. You know, they beat Tampa Bay. Dak played the most incredible game I ever saw, and then came back the next game. That's when Tony Pollard broke his leg. Dak made that ill-advised interception, even though that didn't end the game. That was in right at the end of the second quarter, right before they went into halftime. But I don't even think that was Dak Prescott's, if he probably reflects on his career so far. I don't think that was their best opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think their best opportunity was to go to the Super Bowl in 2023 when the Green Bay Packers beat them, because we had no offensive line, we had no defensive line, we had no linebackers. Had it not been Green Bay, it'd have been somebody else. We would have still had to beat a team we'd have still had to beat teams in shootouts. I think when Dak Prescott reflects, I think it's 2016. I think 2016, when Dak Prescott was playing so freely, playing out of his mind, came into this league, no expectations. I mean, just no pressure. I don't even really think it was that kind of pressure. Dak Prescott, a rookie. Nobody expected him to start. Dak Prescott filling in for Tony Romo. Nobody expected him to keep the job. The Cowboys go what? Some crazy record, like what? 7-1 or whatever case may be. Never expected to even be there. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and that team, they bought a breath of fresh air, and the only thing they did was have fun. They had fun, and they executed. And they found themselves in a situation to where first round, I think they were the number 1 seed, messed around, and ironically got the Green Bay Packers with prime Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers had to literally pull a rabbit out of the hat, make an incredible throw that still don't make sense to me to this day, and there was an incredible catch on the sideline, out of bounds, and then an incredible kick. It took all that to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I think if they make it past Green Bay that year, because they only had one more game to go, because if I'm not mistaken, they'd got a bye week. They only had one more game to go to the Super Bowl. I think they go. I think that was the closest that they had got to a Super Bowl since Dak's been here. And I think Dak is now reflecting upon the fact he's about to have another chance. Because I don't really think those other years were as close as 2016. I don't think it was as close. I think now he's smelling like, wait a minute, this is starting to look like we may have another shot here. And I think that's why if you kind of look at Dak's demeanor, Dak understands this is a chance. This is another shot. I got to get it while the getting is good. I got to do this in the next 2 to 3 seasons. I got to do it. And again, I think RS also said, and I didn't even catch it, but I mean, I read it, but I didn't put it up. But RS is thinking just like me. See, yeah, right here. The boys run deep this year, but next year, that's the one to watch out for. That's what I keep saying. A lot of y'all thought I was crazy, but I've been saying, I think the Cowboys get the chip in 2026. I think they're going to flash for us this year. I do. I think they're going to flash for us. But I think 2026, I think they're going to get the chip. I think that's when they're going to get what Stephen Jones said. Stephen Jones said in 2026. No, he didn't say in 2026. He said, my goal is to have the best roster in the NFL. I don't think you do that in 1 season, but I think you can do it in 2. I think you can establish your culture first. Make sure your coaches build up their credibility. Let them install the culture. Let the team, let the leaders implement it. Let everybody buy into it. Get your players. We got players that need to make steps. We got to get Tyler Guyton to make a step, Mozzie Smith to make a step. We got to improve the run game. We got to solidify our cornerback room. We even got to solidify what our safeties are going to be. We got to make sure we got to see what our running back room is. There's a lot of things that we got to see what it is. I think by mid-season, we'll know what we are. I think we'll know what we are by mid-season. And then I think we'll get better by mid-season because we'll get Trayvon Diggs back. We'll get the Demarion Overshown back. I think we'll get better. And I think Jerry may absolutely shock us this year. Because the thing that to me that's going to be the final straw that's going to show me how serious these Cowboys are, and I'm talking about the front office, is the trade deadline. I'm not talking about some of these dumb moves we always make, giving up a 4th-round pick for somebody else's player to come in and not play in that season. Somebody that we want for the future because we had them on, we had them graded very high in. No, none of this stuff. Trade deadline. Well, the Cowboys hit the trade deadline and say, this is our record. We need one more piece. And if there's a big fish out there, will they do it at the trade deadline? That's what I want to know. Mike McCain, I'm with you. Mike McCain said, I think Dak will win a championship in his career. I do too. Brian Schottenheimer is changing that culture and turning the cocky into professionals. Amen. The NFL is going to love these Cowboys. Believe that. I'm with you. I believe you. I'm with you. I've been saying the same thing. I believe you. I believe you. My man Alex, what up? Alex said, how would you compare Dak with Lamar? Everyone says Dak chokes, but in reality, I think Lamar chokes in big moments, but gets all the praise. Alex. Let me tell us something about Lamar Jackson versus Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has made some mistakes early in games. Early. We murder Dak Prescott for early mistakes and don't give him credit for making up for those said mistakes. We don't give him credit for it. When you go back and look at the turnovers of Dak Prescott in the playoffs, they've been early. And where Dak actually played better as the game went on. And we had issues where our defense may have kind of failed us down the end, down the stretch. And then we'll go back to something Dak did in the first or the second quarter and say, that's the reason. No, I'm sorry. A turnover in the first or the second quarter should not be the reason why you're losing the game. And Dak don't even choke in the end of those games. Dak is actually battling and dueling in the end of those games. Dak isn't, and when Dak is on the field at the end of those games, it's because there's something that has happened on the defense to where we're still behind, where they didn't make a stop. To where our defense actually had an opportunity to make a stop and put us in a great position, and they didn't, and they put us in a position to where now we got to say, okay, we need a heroic moment from Dak Prescott. But Alex, let me tell us about Lamar Jackson. This man has actually been the reason, because the ball was in his hand at a very crucial moment, and he's the one that threw the interception at the most inopportune moment. Go check the tape. It seems like the last 3 playoff losses by the Baltimore Ravens have all been with Lamar Jackson making the last throw. People can tell me anything they want to. I said this during that playoff game. Lamar Jackson throws that ball to that tight end. And the reason why he doesn't catch that ball, his momentum is carrying him to the left. And what does Lamar Jackson do? Lamar Jackson throws that ball to where he has to contort his body, turn, and lower himself, being a big tight end, down to the ground and catch that ball. That is not the throw. That was not the throw, but he got another pass. If that would have been the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott would have been in that game and threw that ball the same way, everybody would have dissected that throw from the moment it was hiked. The moment it was hiked to him, they would have, from the time it was hiked to the time the ball boy would have got it, they'd have broke it down and said it was all Dak. Lamar Jackson is only one game better than Dak Prescott with all his accolades. One game better in the playoffs. And Dak Prescott, without even the ability of Lamar Jackson, has outplayed him, for sure outplayed him statistically and win-wise throughout his career. Angie says, can't have both. She said, Pickens or Tolbert. With the money Tolbert going to probably command, Angie? We're going to see. Nisi said, Pickens does well. Jerry better not go. Jerry, and start the sabotage talk when it comes to paying him. Angie, I think it would behoove him to lock him up. I think they need to lock him up. If I was the Cowboys, I'd be trying to lock him up early. I'm telling you, I would be different if I was dealing for the Cowboys. They wouldn't have to sweat it. I would just take the chance. I'd go ahead and try to lock him up. You see kind of where you are mid-season? Lock him up. $25 million. Don't even think about it. 70s fan. Pickens is absolutely unguardable. He's balling practically. Pickens is absolutely balling. He's unguardable. Yeah. And you know what's going to make him even more unguardable? CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Him playing with CeeDee Lamb and CeeDee Lamb playing with him and them playing with Kevontae Turpin and them playing with Jake Ferguson and them playing with Jalen Tolbert, as much as we hate to say it, and them playing with Jaden Blue. Because I'm telling you, Jaden Blue going to get the field this year. Jaden Blue going to get the field this year, I promise you. With all the speed the Cowboys are going to have on the field, George Pickens should absolutely eat. Absolutely eat. And so should CeeDee Lamb. And so should Jake Ferguson. And so I'm telling you, these guys have a combination to where it should be a buffet. Dak Prescott is going to have something that he's probably never even dreamed of. Dak Prescott is going to have an offense to where he's probably going to have no less than one or two people running free almost every single play. If his offensive line will give him time, Dak Prescott is going to be surgical this year. He's going to be surgical, I'm telling you. G-Base, boy, let me tell you something. Boy, you better say it. C-Base. Boy, let me tell you something. Man, you better say it. Man, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Hey, you know what? Tolbert showed great sportsmanship, C-Base. I'm with you, bro. Man, you done brought in George Pickens. Hey, it's one thing y'all wouldn't got. Jonathan Mingo, but I can beat him. Tolbert probably didn't feel as bad with Mingo because he's like, oh, I can beat him. Man, you bring in George Pickens. See, Base, I'm with you. I bet he felt some type of way too, even though he didn't see it. He can't see it. But boy, I bet you if you put a recorder somewhere in his house and he was talking to his girlfriend, boy, he probably told her, "This is some straight." Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Christopher Cook said Guyton deserves the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, he's on his play from last year too. If he doesn't progress this year, though, yeah, I think he'll take another step. The question is, how big will the step be? Yeah, Angie said just because the cap goes up doesn't guarantee they will use it as it is. Angie, people have to understand something about this Dallas Cowboys salary cap. It is not the way people are making it. People keep making like, yeah, the Cowboys got all this money for the cap, and they said they were going to use the cap until the limit. But you got to sign DeRon Bland. You have to sign DeRon Bland. You put Tyler Smith on a 5th-year option. What do you think going to happen with him? You got to sign Brandon Aubrey. What are you going to do? We got to slow down talking about all this cap money we got, Angie. We don't have all this cap money. Because by the time we start talking about those 3 players, Angie, wait a minute. What if Kyrie Elam balls out? You letting Kyrie Elam go? You have to make a decision on Jalen Tolbert. Have to make a decision on Jake Ferguson. People keep talking about all this doggone cap money. No, we got to be thinking about what in the world we going to do with all these doggone players. And let's put the icing on the cake. George Pickens. Even if you extend, which they're going to do, even when they extend Micah Parsons, if they spend every cent they have this season on the salary cap, under the salary cap, if they spend to the cap and not sign none of those players, and even if the salary cap goes up another $35 million, how do you sign all those players? How do you do it? How do you do it when, Micah Parsons' contract won't hit you this season, but guess when his contract will start? Next season. Man, Cowboys got to really figure out how they're going to spend all this money. They got to really figure out how they're going to spend this money, because they really are not going to be able to spend the money the way people think. They're not going to be able to do it. C-Mo, I said the same thing. You look like Predator, because I'm telling you, this is that hairstyle these youngsters are wearing, and it looks weird. My sons had it a couple of months ago, or matter of fact, last month, and I was asking all 3 of them, why y'all got this? Why you got these doggone hairstyles? What up, James Scott? Good to see you. Yeah, 70s fan, I want that 6th Super Bowl too, for sure. We need that 6th Super Bowl. I think they're going to get it too. I think they're going to get it. Joe, you are not lying. Andy said Joe's at like an insurance company when an accident occurred. Yeah, but again, they got to figure out how they're going to spend this money. Got to figure out how they're going to spend this money. And I'm telling you, we're talking about Tyler Smith. I think you can still have Guyton as a right tackle. You can save money by letting go of Terrence Steele. You could literally save money letting go of Terrence Steele. I mean, I'd put Guyton at right tackle and let Tyler Smith, because Tyler Smith, y'all, is about to break the bank. Tyler Smith is about to break the bank. And if he can play left tackle, the left tackle is typically, if I'm not mistaken, is the highest paid player on your offensive line. Not your left guard, but your left tackle. Your left tackle is highly coveted. So if I'm the Cowboys, I'm probably thinking about moving him to left tackle and moving Tyler Guyton to right tackle. I know some people don't like that, but I'm moving Tyler Guyton probably to right tackle, which is more than likely his natural position. I think he plays that even better than left because he's having to learn left, but I think he's already strong at the right tackle. Save the money with Terrence Steele, trade him or whatever you want to do. You move Tyler Smith over to the left tackle. You move Cooper Beebe to the left guard. You move Brock Hoffman to the center position. Tyler Booker's already at the right guard, and you got Tyler Guyton at right tackle. Nah, that line right there, I like the way that sound. I like the way that sound. I really do. I like the way that sound. That's a heck of a line right there. Because I'm telling y'all, Brock Hoffman is an absolute beast. He's got a very nasty tenacity. I want Brock Hoffman starting on my line. Or at least I'm going to give him the opportunity to do it. And I think Hoffman would be great at the center position. BB, man, BB can play left guard. No problem. He can already play it. Move him over. Move him over. But we'll see how that turns out, because I do think they may do some moving with that line.
At this point of the offseason, it's probably most time you get to be away, even if it's just for a little bit between now and the start of training camp. How much has this changed for you, obviously having children now, compared to maybe your first few years as Cowboys quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing's the main thing, and the family knows and makes sure that I work out, take care of my body, do the things necessary. So that's not going to change. And so, after my training, after I do what I have to do, it'll be a lot of family time, a lot of time with the girls, some traveling, and month here I'm looking very, very excited about and looking forward to.
Has fatherhood changed your perspective
Thanks,
on
Christopher
what
Cook.
all of this means? You talk about legacy, but
Father's Day weekend?
Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to raise 2 girls alongside my fiance, to have a beautiful family, healthy family. For me, it's just about being grateful and not taking a moment for granted when I'm with them.
Calix. Yep, 555. That's it.
But I've been through things in my life that I don't necessarily think fatherhood just showed me something new. I understand the love my mom had for me, right, in a different way now that I have kids. But I think when you've had some of the adversity that I've had, you're so thankful. You're so thankful for everything that you're given, good and the bad, anything in between.
I said that earlier.
Fatherhood's no different now, and it just makes me even more focused on the small moments.
Do you feel like you found your dad groove?
Oh yeah.
Door number 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm rolling. I feel good.
Some of them from your edge rushers in football who aren't signed or not participating in their camps. How much do you appreciate the approach that Mike has taken?
Yeah, a lot of approach, and that's not to knock any of those other guys. Those situations are all independent and different, and I'm sure Mike would feel the same way. Don't compare him and Trey or whoever else it is. That we are all very confident that Mike is going to get this deal done. It starts with Micah and Jerry, and I think they both alluded to that. Obviously, it's a situation, a position that I've been in a couple times, so he understands the weight and just doing everything in between there the right way.
Okay, thank you, Dak.
Thanks, Dak.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this team is different. I like the way they're thinking. Absolutely love the way this team is thinking. I think it's going to be good. A lot of you are making some great comments, man. A lot of people don't want to admit. I mean, when you start looking at some of these losses that the Cowboys had in the playoffs, they're actually not Dak Prescott losses. They're team losses. And Brian Schottenheimer, I think he's acknowledging these have been team losses. And that's why he's team building. A lot of people don't understand team building. You team build so that you understand what you're doing. You understand, and you want your team to understand you're winning and losing as a team. Yeah, Unlucky said if we're competing, I don't see why Tober couldn't be beaten out of 3. It seems a little we like our guys, but rightfully so. Tober was solid last year. Who thinks Tober has trade value? Yeah, Unlucky. I think the part that we're not realizing about Tober, I think he's better than Jonathan Mingo. I think he's better than Jonathan Mingo. I think he's better than Jonathan Mingo. I think that's what they're telling us. I think he's better than Jonathan Mingo. And I think to our surprise, Jalen Tolbert mess around and have a year better than what he had last year. At the number 3 wide receiver spot, if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Tolbert's numbers would be top 10 in the NFL. I'm talking about at the 3rd wide receiver spot. Those would be top 3 wide receiver. Might even be top 5 wide receiver numbers for a 3rd wide receiver. And I got a feeling. Just imagine if Dak Prescott doesn't get hurt. Jalen Tolbert probably eclipses 1,000 yards in receiving. And we're having a whole different conversation. Jalen Tolbert could very well get 1,000 yards this year. I think he's going to have an opportunity. I do. Mike McCain hit another factual moment. He said Lamar Jackson has had better teams than Dak Prescott. Straight up facts. And better coaching. Straight facts. And still hasn't done any better. Yes, sir. Facts. All facts. Suge Midnight, he says, yeah, we should lock up Pickens, Jerry, and them. Yeah, nah. They better lock him up. They better lock him up. Iceberg Slim, he said, Cowboy's the middle child. He always had to prove something. He's the most successful child. He's a chemical engineer. Hey, Iceberg, let me tell you something. If he wants to get rid of that name Cowboy, he needs to be driving the train to get George Pickens signed. He really does. Bobby Bottles, he says, got a love for you, G, but you can't compare the 2 players. Lamar has 2 league MVPs. Bobby Bottles, I love you too, but I'm going to tell you something. And one of those MVPs belongs to Dak Prescott. They robbed Dak Prescott of the league MVP in 2023. But Bobby Bottles, let me come back. But they also robbed Lamar Jackson of the MVP in 2024. Lamar Jackson ran circles around Josh Allen in the regular season. Ran circles around him in the regular season. and even beat him head to head in the regular season. Destroyed him. Lamar Jackson with video game bonkers. If you look at 2023, Dak Prescott had more touchdowns than Lamar Jackson running and throwing. Dak didn't even need his own running touchdowns. He beat Lamar Jackson with just throwing touchdowns. Dak Prescott, people do not understand. This dude balled in 2023 with one wide receiver. Balled out. Unequivocally. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves talking about because Dak Prescott didn't beat the Miami Dolphins. Stop it. Man, they robbed this man. Lamar Jackson should still have 2 MVPs. But Dak Prescott should have one too. Dak Prescott should have one too, Bottles. And really the indictment is on Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson, if you're just talking about talent, Lamar Jackson is the more talented when you're talking about his ability to run. He's the more talented quarterback. Dak Prescott, though, to me, is better than him. Because Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. He's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can't read like Dak. Can't throw like Dak. But what he does do better than Dak is run. But he's had better teams. Man, let me tell you something. If Dak Prescott would have had Derrick Henry last year, even with the team not being better than the Baltimore Ravens, if Dak Prescott would have had Derrick Henry last year and the Cowboys were not winning, I'd be looking at Dak Prescott a little side-eye. I would admit that he still needed a defense, but I would still be looking a little side-eyed. And Lamar Jackson, do we not realize that Derrick Henry was supposed to be the Saquon Barkley of the Baltimore Ravens? And Lamar Jackson still got stopped. With Derrick Henry, that's an indictment. I'm sorry. With the team Lamar Jackson has and the fact that they added Derrick Henry and you still didn't get any further, that's an indictment. That is a serious knock on Lamar Jackson. But they're going to keep giving him a pass. I forgot that Dak Prescott, and I'm not talking, I don't mean to say this in the wrong way, but somebody got to tell me, why is Dak Prescott the only black quarterback that can be criticized? I mean, other black quarterbacks get criticized and people run to their defense, except when it's Dak Prescott. I'm just saying. All right, man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We've been talking almost 4 hours of Dallas Cowboys. Y'all the greatest chat on YouTube. I appreciate it. So now we're going to have another long break. So I guess I'll be going back and doing videos on the interviews that we've had over the last week, talking about these last mandatory mini camps. And I'm pretty sure there'll be stories here and there. There'll be players that'll come out, and there'll be players that'll be getting cut by other teams. And then we're going to be saying the Dallas Cowboys need to pick them up. So I know we'll still have stuff to talk about. I know we still going to have stuff to talk about. So it'll be all good. But again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. It's always great to talk Dallas Cowboys. It's always great to talk Dallas Cowboys. Keity boy, what's going on? He said, I think the Cowboys finally have the coaches that will play the players to their strengths and right positions. I agree. 1,000% agree. Dominique Pittman, I'm with you. Everybody have a great night. Goes to Mike McCarthy. He said that's playoff John Harbaugh, always going away from playing the game the way that got you there. Facts. Yep. Dominique Pittman, he said, great show. Appreciate you. Ice Cold said, solid show. Appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. All right. I'm like the Dallas Cowboys. I added some more moderators. Because I'm getting ready for the regular season. I anticipate we're going to have more people on here. So we're going to need more eyes watching. Dal8604 said we need more people. So we got more people. Let's do this. The Ghost of Mike McCarthy, he said, great show, G. Be safe, everyone. For sure. All right. My sister, Angie the Rubber Chick, she said, fire. Always appreciate you, Angie. Glad Niecy back in the house. Goes by McCarthy. He said it's okay. I just want. He He said, I'll just watch the 92, 93, and 95 seasons over again. Yes, sir. Yo. D. Kizzle. Yes, sir. See you soon. Davion Wallace. See you later. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Darren Posey. See, appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to have more to go. More to come. We definitely going to have more to come. Like I said, it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go back and check out some of this stuff that y'all done brought to my attention. I definitely got to now go check out the facility. They done went over here and straight up slaughtered our Cowboys. Definitely got to go back and check them out. Man, these people be tripping. Headlines is all they want. Tony Simmons, appreciate you. Mike McCain, everybody, appreciate you. All right, guys. DC4L, God bless. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys when we talk facts. Peace.